Chapter 39-37. Seventh More. The Star Palace has a large number of arcanas, including the strongest arcana, and also used these arcadia to solicit powerful people. It is not surprising that it will not take long for this star domain's arcana, including the strongest arcana, to flood. In the future, this star domain the value of arcana will naturally be reduced. According to local conditions, this principle, you should understand the Lord of the Blood Sword. Shen Yun dominated and looked at Jian Wushuang calmly. Wu Jian Wushuang was silent. He did feel that the source rock of the 20 universe was a little low, but what Shen Yun dominated did not make him refutable. According to local conditions, if this star field itself does not have many strongest treasures, and there is no need for a universe of treasures at the highest level, the value is naturally different. Moreover, even if the price was lowered, he could not be angry, and he could not force the other side by force. After all, he is not facing a small force now, but Jyoti Pavilion. Although the host of the first pavilion of the 9 Emperor Pavilion is dominated by Shen Yun, although he has been polite to him from the moment he entered the door, in fact, this Shen Yun dominates him with no fear at all. I want to know that what stands behind him is a huge Jyoti Pavilion. He will only do business fairly and strive for greater benefits for Jyoti Pavilion as much as possible. The resources that I can exchange in my hands are almost the same, but I still can't get the 80 cosmic source stones unless. Jian Wushuang squinted his eyes, pondered for a moment, and then made a decision. Dominated by Shen Yun, I still have a treasure in my hand, see how much it is. Jian Wushuang waved his hand. This time he didn't take out the ring, but took out a blue sword. As soon as the cyan sword came out, there was a horrific and fierce breath coming out, and the cyan sword faintly carried an incomparable force. That transcendental power is truly the law of the universe. This is the rule of treasure. The Lord Shen Yun and the other 2 lords of the Jyoti Pavilion showed horror at the moment they saw the blue sword. Not bad. This cyan sword is exactly the sword that Sword Master Wushuang received from the Lord of the Scorpions. The 5 rules of the Lord Scorpion Lord are precious. One of them is used by himself, and a purple stone stick is given to the Lord Dragon Lord. The 2 town monuments are refined by the sword unparalleled. As for the last item, this is the cyan sword, which is also contained in the ring of sword by the sword unparalleled in case of need. And now, in order to get what he needs very much from the Jyoti Pavilion, Jian Wushuang took out the cyan sword. Master of the Blood Sword, do you even have the rule of treasure? Shen Yun dominated Jian Wushuang with a shocked expression on his face. Don't talk nonsense, you look at this rule arcana sword, how many universe source stones can be exchanged for? Jian Wushuang is cold. Sovereign Shen Yun immediately began to investigate the power of the cyan sword. Only a moment later, the Lord Shen Yun gave the sword Wushuang a reply. The Lord of the Blood Sword, the cyan sword you brought out belongs to the rule of the lower grade, and among the treasures of the rule of inferior goods, it can only be regarded as ordinary. In the vast universe, the rule of inferior quality is generally treasure, and the value is between the source rocks of the universe, and your rule of treasure war sword is estimated to be between 120 source rocks. However, I said before that things are scarce and expensive. Your best-in-class treasures are the strongest treasures. Because there are a lot of them, the value is naturally low. The rule is treasure. In addition to the town monument that was originally born, there is almost nothing in this star field. At least I have never received the arcane treasure since I became the first patron of the 9 Emperor Pavilion of this star field. Therefore, in terms of value, this rule treasure knife will naturally be higher. In this way, this low-level rule is a precious sword. I will give you the price of 150 cosmic source stones. What do you think? After Shen Yun dominated, he smiled and looked at Jian Wushuang. 150 source stones of the universe? Jian Wushuang looked up at Shen Yun's master and nodded secretly. He had already asked the Lord of the Dragons on his way. Regarding the price of the ruler's sword, the Lord of the Dragons said that the value of the ruler's sword should be between the source rocks of the universe, and Shen Yun's master gave 150. The price is indeed relatively high. As he said, things are precious. Counting it like that, the most powerful treasures he sold before are not a loss. This rule is the 150 cosmic source stones of the precious treasure sword, plus the batch of resource treasures and arcane treasures, all of which add up to 190 cosmic source stones, deducting the 80 cosmic source stones that purchased the gold fire magic stone, ice yuan crystal, and blood dragon crystal. There are 110 cosmic source stones left. I still have a list here. There are some treasures in it, and see if you can get them in 500 years. Jian Wushuang took out a list again. On the list, there are hundreds of treasures. These treasures were prepared for Jian Wushuang to cultivate the supreme immortal body. The supreme immortal mystic body is from Ling Yunxing. It is Ling Yunxing's inner star mysticism. It is very high level and very powerful. Before the sword Wushuang was only able to be refined into the first, but the body was greatly improved. Comparable to the elementary universe treasure. I have to know that the supreme immortal mysticism is full of 11th order. Only at the main level of the rule, you can practice the first 3 tiers. Jian Wushuang was just the first tier. The reason why he has practiced the second most important thing in these years is that the cultivation of the supreme immortal iron requires a lot of geniuses and treasures, and those geniuses and treasures are very high. Star fields can still be barely found, but the treasures needed for the second start are almost impossible to find in this star field. Jian Wushuang also came to the 9 Emperors Pavilion because he now has a lot of resources in his hands, and he just took out the treasure on that list, which is the second and third most important thing for him to cultivate the supreme immortal Shentai. There are hundreds of treasures needed, and almost any kind is hard to find in this star field. Wu Jianwushuang was also unsure whether the Judian Pavilion could be brought to him within 500 years. These treasures. Master Xin Yun and the other 2 masters of the Jyoti Pavilion looked at the treasures on the list, one by one sipping the air conditioner. Why is it difficult? Jian Wushuang asked in a deep voice. The Lord of the Blood Sword, the treasures on your list are very high level, and they are relatively rare. It is very difficult to get 1 or 2 of them in this star field alone, but if you do not hesitate if you look for it from the nearby star field, you can probably find a full 99%, but on this list, there is still a Jinyuan God fruit. Shen Yun dominated his words, and his eyes were still a little shocked. Chapter 39-38. It's 8 more today. Jinyuan God fruit, that is a first-class treasure. It is said that this Jinyuan God fruit, if only swallowed directly, can greatly enhance its own body. If it is refined into elixir, or used as an elixir for other uses, the effect is even more amazing. In some large territories in the universe, many of the 4th series and even 5th series dominate the Jinyuan God fruit, but Jinyuan God fruit is extremely valuable. To 50 cosmic source stones. This is just the price on the market, because Jinyuan God fruit is generally available without a price. If a Jinyuan God fruit is sold well, it is normal to sell a 70 universe source stone. Shen Yun dominated in that wonder. 9 Emperor Pavilion, a great family, even if this Jinyuan God fruit is precious, but it is nothing to the Emperor Pavilion, right? Jian Wushuang looked over. Jinyuan God fruit is naturally nothing to the Jade Emperor Pavilion, but here is the edge of the universe after all, and the many star fields around here, I dare say, there is absolutely no Jinyuan God fruit, blood sword if you want the golden source fruit. You can only send it from some large areas in the deeper part of the universe, and within 500 years, the price will be much higher. Xin Yun ruled. Frankly speaking, how many universe source stones are needed? Jian Wushuang said indifferently. 400 universe source stone. Xin Yun dominated directly. 8 times the price? The sword has no double-sided discoloration. It's too expensive. A single gold source fruit requires 400 universe source stones. I can't afford it. There are indeed too many cosmic source stones, even if he replaced the ruled treasure sword with cosmic source stones, plus the resources he sold before and the strongest gem, minus the purchase of those special spar. The next 110 cosmic source stones, plus 30 cosmic source stones on him, are only about 140. It is still a long way from the 400 source rocks of the universe. Master of the Blood Sword, Do you really need that Jinyuan God fruit? Master Xin Yun suddenly looked over. Of course. Jian Wushuang Jing focused his head. If the Lord of the Blood Sword is really eager for you, there is another way. Xin Yun dominated. What method? Jian Wushuanglian looked over. The Lord of the Blood Sword, you may not know yet. In my 9 Emperor Pavilion, there is a special list called 9 Emperor List. Shen Yun, the master, began to recount. There are countless strong men on the 9 Emperor List. Among them, they are either supreme or dominated, and of course there are rule masters, but without exception, those who are qualified to include names in this list are necessarily true strong ones, even the rule ones. The Lord must also be the one who rules against the sky and has great potential. Lord of the Blood Sword, I heard that you went to the ancient Night Demon Palace and fought against the ancient Night Demon King. It is true. Jian Wushuang nodded. Shen Yun dominated Xiao Wu and looked at Jian Wushuang. Many people saw the battle in person and recorded the process of that battle with mirror commands. I have one of these mirrors in my hands. Order, and I and the other 3 took a closer look at the battle between you and the ancient Night Demon King and found that although you are the master of the rules, the power of combat is no less than that of the highest peak of the 2nd rank, and you the consciousness of the origin of the Kendo universe is so high that you even realize a bit of the law of the universe. There is no doubt that the Lord of your Blood Sword is the most supernatural genius in the vast universe. It is rare to see in the billions of stars. Such a super genius is definitely qualified to be among the 9 emperors. Qi Jian Wushuang was silent. It is not surprising that the picture of his battle with the ancient night demon fell into the hands of Jyoti Pavilion. After all, many people did see it at first. He is just the list of 9 emperors said by Shen Yun, but still makes him extremely confused. Shen Yun dominates. What is so special about these 9 emperor lists? Jian Wushuang asked. The 9 emperors list is actually a list of strong men. Anyone who is included in the 9 emperors list is my friend of the 9 emperors pavilion and will receive extraordinary treatment in the 9 emperors pavilion all over the universe. For example, you do not have enough cosmic source stones to buy that Jinyuan God fruit. It doesn't matter, as long as you are on the list of 9 emperors, then my Judian pavilion can give you Jinyuan God fruit first. You only need to pay for the universe you can get the source stone. When you have enough cosmic source stones, you will return. And the people in the 9 Emperor list will be able to receive the greatest discount in exchanging treasure resources in any branch of the 9 Emperor Pavilion in the future, and even a lot of key intelligence information in the universe. If anything is useful to you, my 9 Emperor Pavilion will take the initiative to find you and inform you free of charge. You know, the universe is vast and the practitioners are roaming in the universe. A lot of information is not available in time, but the people on the list of 9 emperors do not have to worry about it. For example, the Lord of the Blood Sword, you will go to the universe in the midst of it. If something related to you happens somewhere in the universe, my 9 emperors pavilion would find you and notify you as soon as possible. Shinyun, the master, smiled. This. Jian Wu's eyes glowed with strange light. He Shan listened to the dominance of Shin Yun that the people in the 9 Emperor list can indeed get great benefits from the 9 Emperor Pavilion. The information that is notified in a timely manner is of immense value. Wu Kejian Wushuang also understands that everything needs to be paid to be rewarded. Jioding Pavilion serves such people in the Jioding list. How can it not be returned? If I leave my name on the Jiodi Emperor's list, what do I need to do for Jiodi Pavilion? Jian Wushuang asked. One thing, Shin Yun dominated directly. What is it? Jian Wushuang asked. I don't know. Shen Yun dominated and shook his head and laughed. Jiodi Pavilion will open a convenient door for all the strong in the 9 Emperor list, and do our best to obtain intelligence resources for these strong, and my 9 Emperor court only needs the people in the Jiao Emperor's list to do one thing for me Jiao Emperor's court, but this thing is not fixed, but when you may just need your shot, I will ask you. Even if I went to invite you to Jyoti Pavilion, you can still refuse, but you can only refuse at most twice. But on the 3rd thing, you must complete it, or you will not only be removed from the list of 9 emperors. Even in the future will be hostile to the 9 Emperor Pavilion. Is that so? Jian Wushuang raised his eyebrows and understood the significance of the 9 emperors list. The Jiao Jetta Pavilion will serve the strongest in the Jiao Emperor list as much as possible, and meet some of the needs of the strongest in the Jiao Emperor list, as well as sources of information. The people in the Jiao Emperor's list owe a favor to Jiao. In the future, Jiao will ask him to do one thing, but what he does will depend on the actual situation. When will his shot be needed? The imperial court would invite him. But even if you ask, the other party can refuse twice. Chapter 3939. The first is more. Shen Yun is dominated, you Jiodi Pavilion, you can really do business. Jian Wushuang glanced at Shen Yun dominated. Although Jiodi Pavilion did pay something, it can be exchanged, but it is the favor of a strong man, and these strong people are not ordinary people. Like Jian Wushuang, although it is only the master of the rules now, Jiodi Pavilion is not considered by the eyes, but Jiodi Pavilion knows that Jian Wushuang has mastered a little cosmic law. Super genius. How great is such a super genius? He is worthless now, but when he grows up in the future, it will have a great effect when it is critical. The Jiodi Pavilion relied on some help to these strong men in the early stage, which made it unkind and included the name in the Jiodi Emperor's list, but they paid only some completely acceptable prices for the Jiodi Pavilion. For example, the so-called intelligence, Jiodi Pavilion, is itself for intelligence. It can be said that Jiodi Pavilion made a bet on a young strong man at a small price. Many of these young powerfuls may have failed to grow up and died before returning the favor of Jiodi Pavilion. Only 1 out of 100 people has grown up, which is profitable for Jiodi Pavilion. After years of accumulation, many names that still exist on the 9 emperors list have grown into top-level existence, but they all owe the favor of the 9 emperors court. What a terrible power! A list of 9 emperors alone is afraid of the power that is enough to make the vast universe ignore the forces awe of the 9 emperors pavilion. It is no wonder that Jiodi Pavilion can become one of the giants in the vast universe, spreading its forces in all corners of the universe. The Lord of the Blood Sword, I wonder if you would like to be my friend of Jiodi Pavilion? Shen Yun dominated the smile and looked at Jian Wushuang. Of course I do. Jian Wushuang nodded. I have nothing to refuse. He really needs the Jinyuan God fruit now, and the only thing he can get is the way of the 9 emperor list. It is not a bad thing to include his name in the list of 9 emperors, and it is not a bad thing to become a friend of the 9 emperors. Although it will owe a favor to the 9 emperors, I am afraid that this personal relationship will be obtained for a long time. When he truly becomes the top power after that, Jiodi Pavilion will ask him for more. Now and for a long time to come, Jiodi Pavilion will only serve him with the resources it has used. I don't know if there will be a chance to become a top powerhouse in the future. If there is a chance, I will return the favor of the Jiodi Pavilion at that time. Jian Wushuang smiled. Lord of the Blood Sword, there is a sign. You just need to leave your name and a drop of blood in the sign. Shen Yun dominated and laughed. More blood. Jian Wushuang stunned. Of course. Shen Yun dominated and laughed. The universe is vast, the number of practitioners is endless, the names are the same, I do and know how many there are, there is no convincing power at all, but the essence is the only one. Yes. Jian Wushuang did not hesitate, even when the word, blood sword, and a drop of his own blood were left in the order. After staying, the Lingfu slightly lighted up a special light. When he saw this, Shen Yun dominated and smiled, took Lingfu back, followed him and took out another Lingfu, the Lord of the Blood Sword. Starting today, you are my friend of Jiodi Pavilion. There is a sign here to represent you. Wu Jianso nodded slightly and put the order symbol into the ring. I have done what you said, that Jinyuan God fruit. Jian Wushuang's words were not finished yet. The Lord of the Blood Sword, please rest assured that within 500 years, I will surely send all the Jinyuan God fruits and those treasures on this list to the Star Palace. As for the cosmic source stones needed, Blood the Lord of the Swords, you just need to give me the cosmic source stone you own now. As for the rest, you will return it later. Shen Yun dominated and smiled. Jian Wushuang also smiled. One more thing, now that I am already recognized in the list of 9 emperors, according to what you said, any information that has a lot to do with me, Judy Pavilion, they will notify me as soon as possible, so now you should know what I care about most. Of course, the Lord of the Blood Sword you care about most now is the Devil's Star. Shen Yun dominated with a smile. Wu Jian Wushuang nodded. The Lord of the Blood Sword, according to the information I received from the Judy Pavilion, the Lord of the Demon Clouds has been out of the customs not long ago, and has led his army to ride this cosmic boat towards this star field. It's so fast. It's no accident that around 950 years, the army of Devil Stars will reach this territory. Shen Yun dominated. Is it 950 years? Jian Wu's eyes narrowed, and he said, I need your Jyoti Pavilion to keep an eye on the movement of this magic cloud star for me. No problem, you can leave a messenger for the Lord of the Blood Sword, but whenever there is news of Devil Cloud Star, I will send it to you as soon as possible. Yes. Jian Wushuang left a summoning order, and then left directly with the Dragon Lord. After Jian Wushuang and the Dragon Lord left, Master Shen Yun stood with the other two masters of Jyoti Pavilion, and all three smiled. Shen Yun, we have done a great job this time. One of the patrons laughed. It's a great achievement. Lord Shen Yun also laughed. The Lord of the Blood Sword has excellent talents, and his chances are also against the sky. After he fought against the ancient Night Demon King, I confess some of his information going up, I paid great attention to the Lord of the Blood Sword. After all, it is the level of the ruler who understands a trace of the law of the universe, and it is still in the most marginal place of the universe. The above means that we originally wanted us to find a way and make friends, and to find ways to include his name in the list of 9 emperors. But it's not long before the name above was passed down. I have already done it, and I know above, it will definitely be credited to us. This credit does not say how much it rewards us. As long as we are transferred from here to those big A little territory, that's enough. 9 Emperor Pavilion, although a super force in the universe, can attach equal importance to genius. Especially the super genius like Jian Wushuang, which is rare in the billions of stars, under such conditions. Although Jyoti Pavilion will not try to save its income like other great forces, it must be to make friends with it. Okay, after all, as long as such a genius does not fall, future achievements will never be low. I invited such a super genius to be a member of the 9 Emperor list, which is indeed a great credit. For Shen Yun, who is at the edge of the universe and the most barren star field, dominates the 3, their chances of making contributions are too small. The credit now is big enough for them. Chapter 3940. Second more. After Sun emerged from the 9 Emperor Pavilion, Jian Wushuang and the Demon Dragon Lord marched side by side in the cosmic void. Master, in fact, you can just let the Emperor Pavilion come to you to help you with a 4th or 5th rank master at the cost of a rule of treasure. After all, most 4th ranks include many 5th level masters do not have the rule of treasure in their hands. At the cost of 1 rule of treasure, I am afraid that there are many 4th rank and even 5th rank masters willing to come. Demon Dragon Lord said. You may be right. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. It is possible to invite the strong to come out of Jyoti Pavilion, but the territory where we are now is at the extreme edge of the universe. Even among the many nearby star domains, I am afraid that it is difficult to find a 4th ranking master. Not to mention the of the 5th series, so the Judian Pavilion was calculated. The strongest one you visit must be quite far away from our star field. Even if it depends on the cosmic channel for transmission, it may not be possible in a short time. Reach this star field. Furthermore, even if there are really strong people who can reach this territory within 1,000 years, I still have a lot of concerns. Jian Wushuang Jingjing said. Worry. The Dragon Lord wondered. Magic Dragon, you should know that I have NT practiced long, but it's only 200,000 years. But in such a short period of time, I grew up step by step. Although it is only the master of the rules, the combat power is even worthy. Dominate than the 3rd grade, and have also realized a trace of the law of the universe, and can even come up with the rule of Polaroid. You talk about, this is what ordinary people can do? Jian Wushuang looked at the Dragon Lord. The average person really can't do it. The master is talented against the sky. The Lord of the Dragons has not finished speaking. Talent against nature is only one of the factors. Jian Wushuang interrupted directly, no matter how good a talent is in this star field, if you don't get that kind of opportunity, it won't be possible in such a short time. This is the step to take, at least, others must think so. The Lord of the Devil Dragons froze, then nodded slowly. It is true that even him, Jian Wushuang, thinks that Jian Wushuang is too bad and too abnormal. Moreover, this kind of inverse nature cannot be achieved by purely talents. It must have obtained some great opportunities and great fortunes. You think so too, then the question is coming. If I really invite a master of the 4th or 5th series with the rule of the treasure, this master can be completely out of my control, although I invite come, but who can guarantee his character? Maybe he will feel that there is a big secret in my body, and he will start directly. Jian Wushuang said. Yes, it is very likely. The Lord of the Dragons focused heavily. In fact, it's unnecessary to talk about others. Just say that the Lord Dragon himself, if he is not controlled by the sword, and he is the first time to come to this star field, knowing that there is Jian Wushuang, the incomparable demon genius, even if he is subject to when the other party invites him, he will certainly make the other party's idea. Wu Jinshuang has such concerns, and it is by no means unreasonable. Only an alien lord of the demon clouds has put me into a great crisis in the beginning. It is still on the verge of life and death. If another stronger person is attracted, who knows what will happen? Swordless eyes were cold. I dare not gamble, and dare not pin my hopes on strangers who I do know and know. Rather than relying on strong external forces, it is better to rely on yourself. Magic Dragon, you go with me to Moyang first. Jian Wushuang rode. Yes. The Lord Dragon nodded. Immediately, the two speeded up, and soon they came to the Magic Smoke Valley, one of the 3 major battlefields of the universe. Magic Dragon, you wait for me outside this valley of magic smoke. Jian Wushuang commanded. Yes. The Dragon Lord still commanded. Jian Wushuang went directly into the Magic Smoke Valley alone, and soon came to the depths of the Magic Smoke Valley. Life and death. Jian Wushuang passed through life and death, but then shook his head. When I left that special time and space, although I finally came out of life and death, the entrance to that special time and space may not be here. China, and there is a big crisis in life and death, I still don't take risks. Jian Wushuang did not choose to enter the time and space where Lingyun's veins fell asleep through life and death. Instead, he went to the unexplored area of the Magic Smoke Valley in accordance with his own way of entering that space and time, and entered the area in accordance with the route. In that special time and space, the ash-like void is vast and immense. There is no light at all, and there is no sky or earth. I have, but nothing. This special space-time is completely different from the outside space-time. Fortunately, Jian Wushuang is not the first time to come to this special time and space, and he was not too surprised by the environment of this time and space. He set off directly toward the dark void in front of him. The dark void, Jian Wushuang swept for a while, before they saw the huge high platform floating in front. With that high platform, Jian Wushuang couldn't be more familiar. When he first came to this special time and space, he was on the high platform and was trapped by the 18 piers on that high platform for a total of 97,000 years. In the end, it was very difficult to break through the 18th battle and therefore pass the test set by the Ling Yunxing master, becoming the inner star disciple of Ling Yunxing's vein, and practicing the supreme insecure technique. At the time, Jian Wushuang also saw Feng Mo, the top powerhouse from Ling Yunxing's vein, in this special time and space. The wind demon, but an extremely powerful supreme, was just too injured in the original battle, and has been sleeping in this special time and space. And when Jian Wushuang left this special time and space, the wind demon also said that if you encounter any trouble later, you can come to this special time and space for help. Wu Jinshuang came this time to ask for help. Okay. As soon as Wu Jinshuang approached the huge high platform, he was immediately attracted by the scene on the high platform. I saw a young man wearing a battle armor and a wicked face on the high platform, waving a golden spear, and fighting 6 human figures. The breath on the young man is obviously the ruler of the rule, and he has reached the level of the 6 void realms, which is also good in marksmanship. Unfortunately, his marksmanship is obviously not the opponent of the 6 human figures. Being crushed by the 6 human figures, the situation was completely sideways. Soon after, the young man was defeated and returned to the most central part of the platform. At this time, he noticed Jian Wushuang appearing in the void near the high platform. Chapter 3941. Third More. Golden Snake Monarch. Wu Jian's twin shape flickered and appeared directly on the high platform. You are the Lord of the Blood Sword? When the evil-skinned man Golden Snake Monarch wearing a battle armor saw the sword unparalleled, he was shocked at first, but followed with ecstasy. I bet right. Gambling right? Jian Wushuang doubted. Oh, Lord of the Blood Sword, you don't know. My golden snake has deep blood and enmity. My wife and children died in the same person, and that person is the king of Dongqing. The Golden Snake Lord laughed. Dongqing King? Jian Wushuang immediately remembered the Dongqing King who had great fame among the masters of the rules of the stars. King Dongqing is a powerful man who has reached the extreme of the 6 realms. He is much stronger than the Golden Snake King. I dreamed of killing the Dongqing King, but unfortunately I was not strong enough to kill him at all, and I knew that my talents were limited. Even if it would give me another 1,000,000 or 10,000,000 years, I'm afraid I would also take this Dongqing King. There is no way at all, so I can only go to these 3 battlefields to venture out, take risks, and long for a great opportunity to kill the Dongqing King. But that great opportunity can be met but not demanded. For a long time, I have not gained anything, until I knew that you came out alive from life and death. The Lord of your blood sword, before entering life and death, his strength was average, not even as good as me. But after coming out of life and death, his strength soared, and he became the first person in the rule of the rule. It's a rival to the master. Obviously, you are in the territory of life and death, and you have reached an incredible opportunity, so your strength has skyrocketed. The King Snake stared at Jian Wushuang tightly. So, you have come to life and death? Jian Wushuang also looked at the Golden Snake Monarch. Yes, life and death have always been a big forbidden area. No one has ever been able to come out alive, but you have come out. Since you can come out alive and get great opportunities from it, why can't I? So I choose to bet. I broke into life and death, and suffered several hardships in life and death. Every time I died, I survived, but I had good luck. I went through many hardships along the way. Until now, I have only come to this special time and space. On this high platform, even now, I have met you. Haha, if I can meet you in this special time and space, it means that you really did get a good chance in this time and space, I bet right. The Golden Snake Monarch laughed with a madness. Wu Jianshuang looked into the eyes of the Golden Snake Monarch with a touch of compassion. This Golden Snake Monarch is because he has his own lessons learned, knowing that he has come alive from life and death, and has gained soaring strength, so he actively broke into life and death to seek the same great opportunity. I have to say that the Golden Snake Monarch is crazy, perhaps because of the deep revenge on the blood. He has never found the hope of revenge, and finally has a chance to face him. Even if the chance is slim, he still wants to seize it. It's a pity that the Golden Snake Monarch is doomed to be disappointed. I got the chance in this special time and space, but as for the improvement of strength, I got up purely by my own ability in the process of getting the chance. And this Golden Snake Monarch has reached a bottleneck in his own strength. I am afraid that he cannot break through for a long time alone. He is now trapped in this 18 team. I am afraid that he will be trapped directly like the original Star Thunder Dominator. I can't leave without death. Golden Snake Monarch. Jian Shuangshuang said, this time and space is indeed the place where my strength soared. There is a great opportunity here, but the condition for this great opportunity is that you can break through the 18th battle in front of you. For 10 million years, if you can break through the 18th battle in 10 million years, you will have the opportunity to avenge the king of Dongqing, but if you see NT make it through, you can only die here. Is it 10 million years? The king of the snake's eyes narrowed slightly, and Jing Jian immediately turned his head. In order to get revenge on my wife and children, I will definitely break through. Good luck. Qi Jian Wushuang took a deep look at the Golden Snake Monarch and immediately left. He has already passed the test of the 18 final battles, and is about to leave now. Naturally, the 18 humanoid statues on the high platform have never stopped him. Passing from the high platform, Jian Wushuang continued to glide forward into the dark void. The 18 peerless strikes vary from person to person. At first, because I was just an undead saint, the conditions for going through the 18 peerless strokes were not so harsh, but it took me nearly 100,000 years to barely break through. In the past, the Golden Snake Monarch was a ruler. If he wanted to break through these 18 games, the conditions would be too harsh. Unless he can, as I do now, have an understanding of Kendo even more than most third-level masters, and even created a big sword skill and 2 big sword arrays, otherwise, he wants to break into these 18 unique battles. It is almost impossible. Jian Wushuang shook his head and sighed. Of course, there is another way for Jin Shijun to break through the 18th battle, and that is to understand a little rule of the universe, but is this possible? Even if Jian Wushuang was in the dark, he went to the darkened demon realm and got the life core fragment of the undead ghost. With that life core fragment, he could comprehend a little cosmic law. This Golden Snake Monarch has never touched the laws of the universe before, trapped in these 18 arrays. How can there be a chance to understand? He knew this, and Jian Wushuang said that he wished the King of the Snake good luck, because in his opinion, the King of the Snake was afraid that he could not go out alive from this special time and space. This Golden Snake Monarch may be because his wife and children have been killed. His heart has already collapsed and gone mad. For revenge, he can be disregarded, knowing that it is almost impossible to survive in life and death. He still has no reason to look back, to choose to bet. Jian Wushuang secretly sighed. If millenniums later, my primordial world is defeated in the battle with Demon Star, then the primordial world will completely collapse. Many of my family and friends, as well as countless strong people in the primordial world, will be difficult to escape the demon cloud, the star's poisonous hand. Even if I escaped by chance, it is estimated that like the Golden Snake Lord, he will be completely insane and will desperately seek revenge from the Lord of the Clouds. Seeing the Golden Snake Monarch, Jian Wushuang had compassion on his heart, and at the same time thought of the situation he faced with Taichu Divine Realm. His heart was also extremely heavy. At this time, a golden light had appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. Chapter 3942. Fourth More. This golden light shines from the deepest part of this special time and space. As this golden light gets closer and closer, its light becomes more and more dazzling. When Jian Wushuang approaches, this golden light is like a huge golden sun, shining the whole time and space thoroughly. Wu Jingguang dissipated, revealing the appearance of a tall practitioner. He is tens of feet tall, wearing golden battle armor and boots, with a golden trench on his head, and a golden spear in his hand, a golden of war. Sword Wushuang, met Feng Ma predecessor. Sword Wushuang salute. I saw Feng Mo again, and Jian Wushuang was still full of shock. You know, this is a living supreme power, different from the Lord Wu of the Red Cloud realm. The Lord Wushan's body almost collapsed, and it has been relied on by the Red Cloud realm to barely maintain it, and what Jian Wushuang saw in the Red Clouds is not the Lord's deity, but just an incarnation of its cohesion. Extremely powerful. The wind demon in front of Yun Ke's eyes, however, is a real deity. Although the wind demon has not been at its peak, he may not have recovered 20 to 30% of his strength, but at this moment standing in front of Jian Wu, he feels as if facing the entire sky universe, so tall and tall, but himself it is a trace of dust in the universe, very small. Wu Jian's unparalleled feeling. If this wind demon is willing, with one look and one eye, he can let himself die countless times. Little guy, how long have you been away from this space and time? Come back so soon? A golden battle armor, like a of warlike wind demon, the narrow eyes fixed on Jian Wushuang's body. Oh, break through to the ruler of the rule and... I feel a trace of the law of the universe on you. What is going on? Predecessor of the wind demon, I have realized a trace of the law of the universe. Jian Wushuang said, and he waved his hand, and immediately the power of that law of the universe had condensed in his hands. Sure enough, Feng Mo's eyes brightened, but then he laughed. His laughter was ancient and mighty, and this time and space trembled wildly. The ruler can understand a trace of the universe rule. Your kid is fighting for Ling Yunxing, and I really did not mistake you. Feng Ma seniors, don't hide it. I came here this time for your help. Jian Wushuangdo. Help. Feng Mo still smiled on his face. I did say before, if you have encountered anything, you can come here to help me. And say what? That's right, my hometown is very special in the early days. Jian Wushuang briefly recounted the cause and effect of the incident. Within 1,000 years, no accident should be more than 900 years later, the magic cloud. The army of the Lord of the Stars will rush to this star field, and when the time comes to fight, I am not absolutely sure that I can win. Is that so? Feng Mo knew. That is to say, after more than 900 years, you will face a master who has reached the 4th rank, and this master has taken away one of the astral realms. Yes. Jian Wushuang nodded. It's a bit of a problem. Feng Ma frowned. My brothers were too badly injured in the original battle. Until now they can only stay in this special time and space, and have been asleep by special means, even if I can wake up occasionally, but after a while I have to continue to sleep, and our deities have shot it in person. And before I asked you to come to us in case of trouble because I can attach my own consciousness to you, you are a perfect life cultivator, full of divine power, and after reaching the rule of the rule, the divine power also it is comparable to ordinary masters. I really encountered a strong enemy. My consciousness directly dominates the body for you. Although there is only the divine power of ordinary masters, but with my means I can still easily kill ordinary 1st and 2nd level masters. Even if they are 3rd level masters, I have weaker ones. Grasp the killing, this is reasonably enough in your star field. Unexpectedly, the opponent you met this time has reached the 4th level. The double-sided color of the sword is also slightly changed. This is because the wind demon has survived from that war to the present, and has been sleeping in this special time and space. Over the years, there are also some practitioners who accidentally broke into this special time and space. This wind devil from those the practitioner knows that the strongest in this star field is the 1st level top master, and occasionally a 2nd level primary master will emerge. With this kind of strength, even if the demon can't take the shot, it can be swept away by relying on consciousness to attach to a rule master. Therefore, the wind demon said to himself with such confidence that if he was in trouble, he could come to they. But now, it is clear that the opponent he met exceeded the expectations of the wind demon. A 4th level master, attached to you by my consciousness, will definitely not be able to kill. I can only give you some special treasures that will allow you to kill the Lord of the Clouds. Feng Ma murmured. I have a lot of such treasures, not to mention killing the treasures dominated by the 4th level, even if it is the 5th grade, the ultimate level, and even the weaker and supreme treasures, I have them, but the trouble is that most of these treasures require a certain level of repair to master or guide them out. It's like having a blood demon bead in my hand, which contains the power of the horrible blood demon. Once urged, it can easily kill the ultimate master. But just to urge the blood demon's power in the blood demon bead, the strength of the 4th level and above dominates. As for the other treasures, most of them are similar to this blood devil. Wu Jinshuang heard it, and was a little dumbfounded. He understood the meaning of the wind demon, that is, he had the treasures killed by the 4th level master in his hands, but the key is that these treasures are extremely high level, and were not originally intended to deal with the 4th ranked master, but used to deal with the ultimate level of domination. To deal with the supreme, he used to deal with the 4th level of is a big deal. The most important thing is that even if the treasures are given to him, he can't use them, he can't lead the power out of those treasures. No way, I'm a supreme as I say, and I'm relatively strong among them. Although I collected a lot of treasures in my hands, these treasures must have a higher level. Those lower levels are only used to deal with the first. The 4th ranked 5th ranked dominator, I have long left it to his disciples, And now you want me to find a treasure that can deal with the 4th-ranked master and that you, the ruler of the rule, can guide. It's not easy. Howling Wind Devil looks a bit bitter. Chapter 3943. The first is more. You guys, don't worry. The Wind Demon laughed again. Although I don't have the treasure you can use, maybe my brothers have it in my hands. In this way, you just wait for a while here, I will go to my few brother asked. There are seniors with labor. Jian Wushuangdo. Immediately the Wind Demon turned and walked toward the deepest part of this dark void, while Jian Wushuang stood still and waited silently. After a while, the Wind Demon in a golden armor appeared again in front of Jian Wushuang. You guys, you have good luck. My brothers have 2 treasures in their hands that can help you. Feng Mo smiled, turned his hands, a cyan bamboo leaf, and a unique breath. Scarlet pill appeared in front of Jian Wushuang. Bamboo leaves, blood dan? Jian Wushuang stunned. The first thing he looked at was the green bamboo leaf. The green bamboo leaf looks ordinary to the naked eye, and it is no different from ordinary bamboo leaves. However, with the consciousness of Jian Wushuang covering it, it is found that there is a terrible power hidden in this bamboo leaf. This hidden power made Jian Wushuang frightened. This bamboo leaf was originally in the hands of a 5th-ranking master, and no accident should be made by the 5th-ranking master himself. It is estimated that it was prepared for his disciples. Unfortunately, in an encounter, the 5th-level master accidentally offended one of my brothers and was killed by my brother, and the bamboo leaves fell into the hands of my brother. The madman smiled. This bamboo leaf was made by the 5th-ranking master himself. Although the means are relatively general, it also contains some of the power of a 5th-ranking master. With your current strength, it just barely guided this might, and under normal circumstances, it should be no problem to kill the general 4th-level master. Jian's eyes flashed. A refined treasure that the 5th-ranking master dominates himself contains some of the power of the 5th-ranking master? It is no surprise that the Demon Cloud Master is only the 4th-level master level, and it has just broken through not long. If he guides the power of this bamboo leaf, he may be very likely to kill the Demon Cloud Master directly. Where is this blood dan? Jian Wushuang looked at the scarlet tan medicine again. The color of this elixir is like blood, and the breath is very unique. Jian Wushuang did not recognize this elixir at all, not only him, but even on him, the knowledge was better. The magic flame that was dominated by the ultimate level during his lifetime was not recognized. This elixir is very special. The look of Wind Demon became solemn. It can bring your strength to a whole new level in a short period of time, but you also have to pay a huge price after the same thing. This price it's very expensive, so I do want you to swallow this elixir unless you have to. Wu Jianshou couldn't help but glance at the scarlet elixir and asked, if I swallow this elixir, will I die afterwards? It is possible to survive, but it is also possible to die directly. Feng Mo said directly. Jian's eyes narrowed slightly. He did not expect that the second treasure given to him by Wind Demon turned out to be such an elixir that would cost a great deal. Once this elixir is swallowed, it will have the power of life. I give you this elixir just in case, but I don't want you to swallow this elixir. Feng Mo stared at Jian Wushuang. The younger generation understands. The sword has no double emphasis, and the wave of the bamboo leaves and blood color in front of the sword into the ring. Well, what you can give is already for you, you can leave. The Wind Demon waved. The junior retired. Jian Wushuang gave a little gift to Feng Mo, even if he turned and left. I watched Jian Wushuang leave, but the corner of the Wind Demon evoked a special arc, and followed him to the depths of this special spacetime. There I was, a few consciousnesses had woke up briefly. Old Fourth, what's wrong? One of them asked consciously. I have given those 2 treasures to this little guy. Feng Mo smiled. How did you tell him? Another consciousness began. I'm telling the truth about that bamboo leaf, but that elixir. I said that elixir can make him burst into higher combat power in a short period of time, but the price he must bear afterwards will be immense, and may even be caused him to die directly, said Feng Mo. How come you say that? The 4th child, this little guy, But you have been deceived. What if this little guy was really forced into despair one day and swallowed that elixir and found out that it was not what you said at all? What would he do? These awakening consciousnesses all started to talk. If that time comes, he will certainly have the determination to die. With this determination, if he swallows that elixir, the benefits will be even greater. Fengma said directly. Well, what you said makes sense. Several ancient beings sleeping in this special space-time all nodded. These ancient beings are top powerhouses under Ling Yunxing's pulse. Each of them has supreme combat power, and they are still strong among them. At first, they followed His Majesty Ling Yun, who was the master of Ling Yun's horse. In that battle, they also played a very strong combat power. Unfortunately, Ling Yunxing's pulse was almost destroyed in the end. Countless strong the killer was killed, and even the Ling Yunxing Lord had left and did not know where he had gone. As for a few of them, they all fell asleep in this special time and space, and after a long period of deep sleep, they have hardly asked the world. And the reason why these consciousnesses have awakened one after another today is purely because of the relationship between swordsmen. After a long period of deep sleep, a little guy finally came into their eyes. The most important thing is that this little guy is so invincible that they will naturally pay more attention to one or two. And the wind magic had just handed 2 treasures to Jian Wushuang. Jane bamboo leaves are indeed a 5th series dominated refining, containing some of the treasures of attack power. But the real role of the blood dan is exactly the same as what Feng Mo said, but the price that must be borne after swallowing, etc., is actually all compiled by Feng Mo. Just kidding, Ling Yunxing's pulse is not much left now, and Jian Wushuang has only become the inner star disciple of Ling Yunxing's pulse in recent years, and not only has he passed the 18th set by Master Ling Yun himself, the test of perfection has now mastered a little cosmic law at the main level of rules. Such a dazzling genius. These strong men in Ling Yunxing's vein must have gone to great lengths to take refuge. How could it be possible to give Jian Wushuang an elixir that is at risk of death? The reason why Feng Mo will say that is that he only hopes that Jian Wushuang can survive the crisis on his own ability and do not use that elixir. End of this chapter. Chapter 3944. Second more. Coming out of that special time and space, Jian Wushuang relaxed a lot. He came to find the strong man from Ling Yunxing's veins this time. Although he didn't get the absolute treasure and strength that can kill the Demon Star Master, his gain was still great. The 2 treasures given to him by the Howling Demon, that is, bamboo leaves and blood dan, are both huge cards that can be used to deal with the Demon Star Master. I have 2 cards in my hand, and Jian Wushuang's grasp of the Master of the Demon Star is naturally a little bigger. Jian Wushuang did not continue to stay in the Magic Smoke Valley, soon left the Magic Smoke Valley, and merged with the Dragon Lord, and then rushed back to the Star Palace as quickly as possible. After returning to Xingong, Jian Wushuang immediately went to meet a few people of Xian Shinto and the Lord of Mars. Xian Shen, during this period of time, have these people under me ever been honest? Jian Wushuang asked. It's okay. Mysterious Shinto smiled. I have vacated one of the 3 planet stars in my star palace to live for them, and in addition to these years, in addition to women's sexuality, food, wine and other aspects apart from some of the small requirements of the United States, they are fairly peaceful. That's all right. Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. Those people under me have been trapped in a prison for a long time. I'm afraid they've been crumbling. As long as they don't ask too much, some small demands, promise. They are. I know. Xian Shinto nodded with a smile. Where is the strong? The news of my Star Palace spread before. Should there be many strong come to the Star Palace? Jian Wushuang asked again. Of course, the lowest are top-level arcana, followed by the peak arcana and even the strongest arcana as a reward. How can the rulers of this star domain, including those masters, stop the temptation? It is only a few decades now. There are already a large number of strong men who either came in person or summoned me to the horoscope, promising to fight for my horoscope. This is just the beginning. I estimate that there will be more and more strong people invited from the back. In addition, in the early days, the gods in these early years rely on the triple path to be far from being born. Wait for the magic cloud star. When the army really arrives, our side can at least make up the army of the master of hundreds of thousands of rules. Xian Shinto Humane. Is the master of hundreds of thousands of rules? Jian Wushuang nodded slightly. This number is still his expectation. Stonefire, how are you preparing for the battlefield? Jian Wushuang looked at the next Lord of Stone Mars again. Back to the master, the battle formations used by the rulers are very easy to solve. I have prepared a full quartet battle formation. These quartet battle formations are performed by different numbers of people. The power is also different. The simple battle formation requires only 1,000 rule masters to work together. After the performance, the battle force of this 1,000-man battle formation can definitely surpass the first-level master, even if it is ordinary. Dominated by the second level, I am afraid that in the face of such a 1,000-man battle array, he can only retreat. As for the second-level battle formation at a higher level, which requires a full 10,000 rule masters to play together, the power is naturally stronger. The strongest fourth law formation can even let the 100,000 rule masters join forces. Work together. The Flint Martian master Xiang Jian Wushuang slowly recounted that Jian Wushuang also listened very satisfied. I have to say that the war prepared by the Lord of Mars is indeed full and the power is very good. In addition to the main army of the rules, I also designed some battle formations for the powerful ones who dominated the level. One of these battle formations is called the Fairy Battle Formation. This battle formation is extremely powerful, even in the deepest universe. At the same time, among the many kingdoms of God, there is no small reputation, and this fairy war battle array has 5 weights. One weight is heavier than the other, and one weight is heavier than the other. When I was in the army of one of the kingdoms of gods, I had contact with it. I can accomplish this together in the formation method, but I can only understand the first battle line. This first battle line, it takes 36 full-blown strong men to be able to perform. Stone Mars arrived. Immortal battle array? Jian Wushuang secretly surprised. One battlefield is actually divided into 5 different levels, and the requirements are obviously not the same. This battlefield can be at the deepest part of the vast universe, and the gods of that side have great fame, and their power can be I figured it out. 36 masters. My slaves are very tyrannical, and all of them have reached the 3rd rank, and they are also the real strong among the 3rd rank masters. Yes, if 36 people were selected from them to form this fairy battle, what would the power be? Jian Wushuang asked. Master, this is what I want to tell you. If the master can select 36 strong men from the servants to enlighten and cultivate this immortal battle, then even if it is only the first battle, and these slaves do not need mastering these battle formations to a very high level, as long as they are basically mastered, with the respective strengths of these slaves and relying on the battle formations, it is absolutely possible to easily erupt the 4th level domination. If they have a better grasp of this battle array, then they will be stronger through the outbreak of the battle array, said the Lord of Mars. Hearing this, Jian Wushuang couldn't help getting excited. The Lord of the Clouds is likely to have reached the 4th level. No one of his slaves is one of the opponents of the Lord of the Clouds. Even if they are joined together, I am afraid that they cannot compete with the Lord of the Clouds. If you can rely on the battlefield and perfectly combine the power of these slaves, then there may be room for competition. What's more, this fairy battlefield put out by the Lord of Mars is still so good. Stonefire, I want you to immediately select 36 people from my slaves to form a fairy battle. Jian Wushuangdo. Master, it is not difficult to form a battlefield of fairy tales. The key is to master this battle of fairy tales. At least it must be a little bit lighter, so that the battle of fairy tales can be sure to deal with the Lord of the Clouds. The battlefield is extremely esoteric and complicated. Even the simplest battlefield is not easy to master. These servants of the master have strengths and weaknesses, as well as high and low perceptions. The key is that they have not much time left. They only have more than 900 years. I am worried that for such a short time, there is no way to master the fairy battle formation, let alone to master it. Well, Jian Wushuang frowned, but suddenly he stared. Yes, the Tower of Time and Space. The Tower of Time and Space in the Temple of Time and Space. At this moment, Jian Shuang Wushuang thought of the space-time tower originally seen in the space-time temple, but many thoughts immediately appeared in his mind. Chapter 3945. Third more. The Tower of Time and Space can change the flow rate of time. Even the simplest first layer, when the cultivation time is inside, only 1 year has passed in the outside world, which is extremely magical. When Jian Wushuang saw the Tower of Time and Space for the first time, he was shocked by the Tower of Time and Space, and the Lord of Time and Space said that the Tower of Time and Space was made by him. Wu Ku later came to the universe battlefield, and gradually understood the secrets of this star field. After having a certain understanding of the vast universe, Jian Wushuang knew that the Lord of Time and Space Palace was lying to him at first. Yes, the Tower of Time and Space did undergo the refining of the Lord of Time and Space, but the Lord of Time and Space only re-refined the Tower of Time and Space to restore it to some extent on the premise that the Tower of Time and Space already existed. The Tower of Time and Space itself is a special treasure that the Lord of Time and Space obtained from the universe battlefield, and it is still in the damaged stage. The master of the space-time temple itself is extremely clever in the use of time and space. Under the premise that the space-time tower already exists, the space-time tower was reluctantly restored to a part of its power. Tower. The Tower of Time and Space can change the velocity of time. Although entering the Tower of Time and Space can hardly sense the rules of heaven and earth and the laws of the universe, even Kendo, UCNT practice enlightenment, but in the Tower of Time and Space, it's okay to delve into something that has nothing to do with external factors and only takes a lot of time. For example, the formation method and some superb secrets. If it is outside, a powerful formation will take a long time to study, but if you study in the Tower of Time and Space, it will reduce the time a lot. Wu Jian's eyes have slowly lightened. Shen, please trouble you to invite time and space. Jian Wushuang rode. After a few days, in the beginning, the realm of the gods was in the mysterious realm where the Temple of Time and Space was located. A delicate black tower was suspended there quietly. This black tower was not tall, but it was divided into 3 floors. The Tower of Time and Space. I looked at the black tower in front of me, and a strange color appeared in the sword's eyes. When he was an undead sage, he knew that the Tower of Time and Space was extremely magical, but he didn't really practice it here. After all, in the Tower of Time and Space, although the flow of time is slow, it is isolated from the heavens and the earth and can only be used to study some special methods, but it is impossible to practice the rules of understanding the heavens and the earth. The Tower of Time and Space is indeed quite extraordinary. When I first got it, I thought it was a very special and most powerful arcana, even a rule of arcs. But later I discovered that it is not. It is just a special space and time. It's a treasure, and the most important thing is that it is too badly damaged. The internal structure and countless normal arrays have damaged 99%. After I got it, it took me a long time to rely on my understanding of space and time. Restore it to what it is now, said the Lord of Time and Space. Time and space, I will wait to enter the Tower of Time and Space to study array or battle array, should not be subject to any restrictions? Jian Wushuang asked. There are some restrictions, the Lord of Time and Space solemnly said. First of all, if the time flow rate in the Tower of Time and Space is to run all the time, it will cost a lot. This price is only a bit for the Temple of Time and Space. It's heavy, but it's nothing to the current Star Palace, to the whole Taizhou Divine Realm. In addition, the legal array on the 3rd floor of the Tower of Time and Space has not been completely perfected, so multiple people cannot enter it at one time. Only one person can enter at a time. As for the 2nd and 3rd floors, there are no restrictions. Wu Jianso nodded slightly and said, Then please try your best to maintain the operation of this space-time tower over the years. No problem. The Lord of Time and Space nodded. Magic Dragon. Jian Wushuang looked behind him, including 36 of them. The 36 people were selected by him from his 41 slaves, including the 2 strongest lords, the Dragon Lord and the Scorpion Lord. 36 of you have entered the second floor of the Tower of Time and Space from today, and are devoted to studying the immortal battle array given to you by the Lord of Mars. I will give you at most 800 years, and 800 years outside. In the second space of the Tower of Time and Space, there is a full 80,000 years. You should be able to master the battle array basically. After 800 years, you will practice the running in Jian Wushuangdo. The 36 lords and other slaves took orders at the same time. Stonefire, you also go in to help them master the battle array. Jian Wushuang commanded again. Yes, master. The Lord of Mars also nodded. Immediately 36 people, including the Lord of Mars and the Lord of the Dragons, immediately entered the second space of the Tower of Time and Space. After they entered the Tower of Time and Space, Jian Wushuang also directly strode toward the Tower of Time and Space. He went to the third floor. The third floor of the Tower of Time and Space is a simple open space. Jian Wushuang stands on the open space, but can clearly sense that the time flow rate of this open space is completely different from the outside world. The second layer of the space-time tower has a time flow rate 100 times slower than the outside world, and this third layer is 1,000 times. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands tightly 1,000 times the time flow rate. In other words, he practiced here for 1,000 years, and the outside world only passed a year. Of course, the shortcoming is that this space is completely isolated from the outside world, and it is impossible to understand the rules, the laws of the universe, and even kendo. However, it is okay to delve into perfection and perfect the sword array. I have created 3 major sword arts, including Wave Light Sword Art and Earth Guard Sword Array, both of which have been improved into Wave Light Sword Array and Earth Guard Sword Array, and these 2 sword arrays have already obtained a lot under the guidance of the Lord of Mars. The degree is perfect, but it has not reached the extreme. Jian Wushuang squinted slightly. His 2 sword arrays do have a lot of room for improvement. Not only these 2 major sword formations, but also the hazy sword formation, he created the strongest attacking swordsmanship. From the perspective of Jian Wushuang, it is also possible to transform into a hazy sword formation. Once the hazy sword skill is transformed into a sword array, his attack power will greatly increase. At that time, his 3 major sword arrays will kill the enemy, entangle the enemy, the strongest defense, and combine the 3. If there are any flaws, then his strength will naturally be different. No matter it is evolution or to continue to improve his sword formation, he needs a lot of time, and staying in this Tower of Eternity, the time flow speed is 1,000 times slower, which just gives him plenty of time to delve into his 3 major sword array. Let's start. In the third space of the Tower of Time and Space, Jian Wushuang has begun to immerse himself in the evolution and improvement of his sword array. Chapter 3946. 4 more arrive today. Time goes by day. I blinked in 400 years. For 400 years outside, you can be in the third space of the Tower of Time and Space, and the time flow rate is slowed down by the predecessors. Jian Wushuang has studied for 400,000 years. For Jian Wushuang, who has been practicing for only 200,000 years, this 400,000 years is extremely long and boring, but he has tolerated it. The purpose is naturally to further improve his sword array, and thus face when the Lord of the Clouds is in charge, he can be as confident as possible. In these 400,000 years, the Wave Lightsaber Array and the Earth Guard Sword Array that Jian Wushuang had evolved before have now become more horizontal, especially the Wave Lightsaber Array. Combining battles that might be stronger. As for another attacking sword array, the Hazy Sword Array, Jian Wushuang has already been completed, and now it has been improved step by step, and the power has also been greatly improved. I reached this step, and by reason, Jian Wushuang had little room for improvement, but he was still enlightening in the Tower of Time and Space. Until the 410th year, which means 40,000 years in the Tower of Time and Space. Tian Ho Xiaoyu. The voice of the Lord of Time and Space suddenly sounded in the third space of the Tower of Time and Space. Time and space, is it all right? Jian Wushuang looked up slightly. Xianshen came over and said that Xin Yun, the first patron of the Jiodi Pavilion, was now in the Xingong Palace. Sovereign Shen Yun? Jian Wushuang looked. Many treasures I bought in the Jiudi Pavilion. Lord Shen Yun said at the time that it would be delivered to me within 500 years. Now it has passed 410 years. See, here comes all the treasures. Since Shen Yun's has arrived, Jian Wushuang naturally did not intend to continue to study in the Tower of Time and Space, but immediately left the Tower of Time and Space, and even set off toward the Star Palace. The Xingxing Palace, the magnificent palace. The gods of Xian and the Lord of the Heaven sect all sit on the throne, while sitting opposite is dominated by Shen Yun. As for the other two masters of the Temple of Time and Space and the ancestors of the Xingong Palace, they are both in the early divine realm and have no conscious incarnations. Shen, you and I have had several faces. At the beginning, you personally went to my 9 Emperors Pavilion to exchange treasures. I remember when I first saw you, you seemed to have been embarrassed by the enemy. Yes, but now, you are very beautiful. I heard that your current combat power has been able to catch up with the top masters, and there are several strongest treasures in hand. Alas, there are few people in this star field now. It's your opponent. Shen Yun dominated and laughed, but with a bit of praise in words. Shen Yun dominated the joke. In terms of strength, you are much better than me. As for the current scenery of my star palace, it is also because a powerful genius has appeared in my star palace. I am the master of the palace, but it's just a matter of trust Ho Xiaoyu's blessing. Xian Shinto also laughed and was very happy in his heart. I am touted also depends on people. If it is said that the ruler of the Xian Shinto is standing in front of him, or a ruler with very ordinary strength, this kind of touting will dismiss the Xian Shinto. Sun Ke now touts him in front of him, but is dominated by Shen Yun. As the first master of Judian Pavilion, he is definitely the best in this star field. Of course, the toasts of such strong players are certainly happy in the heart. This shows that the current Star Palace is indeed tyrannical enough, so that even Shen Yun's dominion is polite to him. Yes, Xianshen, you know, not long ago, the ancient Night Demon Palace has left this star field. Shen Yun dominated suddenly. Ancient Night Demon King? Xian Shinto stunned. Although the strength of the Star Palace has been increasing at a horrible rate in recent years, almost every day, the ruler and even the master actively take the initiative to come to the door and promise to fight for the Star Palace. In just a few hundred years, the overall strength of the Star Palace has now reached an incredible point. I said rudely, now that this star field is afraid that it has more than 50% of its combat power, standing on the side of the Star Palace. There is no way. The temptation of the top arcana, the peak arcana and even the strongest arcana, in this star field, almost no one can resist. However, although the Star Palace is extremely powerful, it has gradually suppressed the ancient Night Demon Palace led by the ancient Night Demon King, but the ancient Night Demon Palace is still a major force in this star domain, the ancient Night Demon King, in under the premise that the Star Palace does not shoot, in this star field is still unbeatable. But now, the ancient Night Devil has left this star field. The departure of this ancient Night Demon King may be related to those strong men brought back by Ho Xiaoyu. Xian Shinto could not help thinking. He guessed right. If under normal circumstances, the ancient Night Demon had just come out of the Eternal Dark Prison not long, had not enjoyed many happy days, and really did not rush away. Since Ku Wushuang entered the Eternal Dark Prison and brought back a large number of strong men from the Eternal Dark Prison, this ancient Night Devil can't sit still. I want to know that the strong men brought back by Jian Wushuang can easily kill him. Anyone is the existence that makes him fully look forward to. Although he knows that these strong men are now slaves to Jian Wushuang, obeying the deployment of Jian Wushuang, it is difficult to guarantee that Jian Wushuang will relax the restrictions on these strong men. By then, any of these strong men will look at him unpleasantly, may kill him directly. After all, he is the master of a second-level peak, but he has created a great power in this star domain, becoming a party overlord, very happy, but these stronger third-level series, even the Eternal Dark Prison, the King's Demon Dragon Lord and Demon Scorpion Lord, they can only become slaves, and follow Jian Wushuang's side, obeying Jian Wushuang's dispatch. This completely unequal treatment will inevitably make these people unbalanced and jealous. Therefore, the ancient Night Demon King chose to leave this star field. It is relatively wise. Tianho Xiaoyu has returned to the Shingon. Xian Shinto suddenly looked up. Are you back? As soon as Xin Yun dominated his eyes, he immediately stood up. Soon, Jian Wushuang appeared in this temple. Shen Yun dominates. Qi Jian Wushuang smiled and said hello to Master Xin Yun. As for the Xian Shinto and the Lord of the Heavens, he nodded. The Lord of the Blood Sword, I heard that you have been staying in the Taiji divine cultivation these years to practice. I shouldn't disturb you when I arrive this time? Xin Yun ruled. My strength has already fallen into a bottleneck. Even in the past few years of training, progress has been extremely slow. There is nothing to disturb, but Shen Yun dominates your visit this time, hoping to bring me good news. Jian Wushuang looked at Xin Yun with a smile. Chapter 3947. Chapter 1 is here. The Lord of the Blood Sword, I have brought all the things you want, and as I said before, they will be delivered to you in 500 years. Shen Yun's did not disappoint Jianshou Shuang, and he took out a ring of heaven and handed it to Jianshou Shou. After Wu Jianshou took it, his eyes lighted up immediately after his consciousness swept. Within the Changshuan ring, it is the special spar such as the Golden Fire Demon Stone, Ice Yuan Crystal, and Blood Dragon Crystal that he previously bought in the Nine Emperors Pavilion, as well as the second and third weight of his supreme immortal Xian body. Many special treasures are needed, including the extremely special Golden Source Fruit. Jiodi Pavilion really did not disappoint me. Jian Wushuangdo. Of course. Shen Yun dominated and smiled. Yes, the movement of the Demon Cloud Star has been paying attention to these 9 years. I have recently received information that the Demon Cloud Army is passing by a star field. At that time, I stayed for a while. Of course, I didn't stay for a long time, less than 1 year. As for the purpose of the stay, I don't know yet. I will make it clear for the Lord of the Blood Swords as soon as possible. Thanks a lot. Jian Wushuang thanked him. You're welcome. The Lord of the Blood Sword is a friend of my Jiodi Pavilion. These little things are nothing. Shen Yun ruled humbly, if there is nothing else, I will leave. Shen Yun, I'll send you off. Xian Shinto immediately got up to give away. Yen Jian Wushuang is standing in place, looking at the Qiankuan ring in his hand, his eyes glowing with a strong light. Before long, Jian Wushuang returned to the Tower of Time and Space again. The time flow of the Tower of Time and Space is slow. It can be used not only to study the array, but also to practice mystery. Flames, 30 gold fire magic stones, 50 ice crystals, 300 blood dragon crystals. I now send them into the blood-colored gourd. You go to devour and absorb. Jian Wushuangdo. Yes. The magic flame nodded, his voice clearly with a touch of excitement. The master rest assured that with these spar, it won't be long before my swallowing gold body can recover 20% of the peak period, when my soul body will control this respecting the divine body. At the very least, I can return to the highest level of the third series, but with my means, even if it is only the highest level of the third series, I can also exert the fighting power of the fourth series. The Lord of the Demon Clouds should have just broken through to reach the fourth level. To defeat him, I have 90% certainty. As for killing him, I have no less than 50% certainty. Well, then you work hard. Jian Wushuang's answer to the magic flame is quite satisfied. I defeated Jiuqing by 90% and killed by nearly 50%. It was already very high, and it was worth his great price to get these special crystals for Demon Flame. After Jian Wushuang sent those gold and fire magic stones, ice yuan crystals, and blood dragon crystals into the gourd, he himself sat down. With a wave of his sleeve robe, special treasures appeared in front of him. There are dozens of these treasures, and there are dozens of them, which are used to assist in the cultivation of the second most important immortal body. Let's start. The sword is dignified without two sides. Extreme Supreme is the mystery of Ling Yongxing's veins. It is very high level. Even the strongest of the supreme level can practice, and after the cultivation is successful, it will be of great use to the supreme. The main level of the current rule of Jian Sword Wushuang can be practiced in the first 3 levels at the same time. It took a lot of time to practice the first level alone. As for the second level and the third level, it will naturally take longer. Fortunately, in the Tower of Time and Space, the flow of time is 1,000 times slower than the outside world. Or even if these treasures are obtained, Jian Wushuang will not be sure that the second incarnation of the Supreme Immortal Mystic will be before the arrival of the Demon Star Army Third Refining. Time has passed. In the Tower of Time and Space, a full 3,000 years have passed, and only 3 years have passed in the outside world. The Supreme Immortal Mystery is the second most important. Buzzing. Jian Wushuang still sits on the 3rd floor of the Space and Time Tower. The body trembles slightly, but Jian Wushuang can very clearly sense the kind of emanation emanating from his body at the moment, extremely sturdy and extremely arrogant. Yeah, it's tough and overbearing. Extreme Supreme is the most important of the undestructible mystic body, which makes the sword unparalleled body directly comparable to the elementary universe. Now that he is refining to the second level, Jian Wushuang has carefully searched and inspected it. He estimates that his current body is already up to the average top treasure, compared to the top-level universe treasures. Jian Wu's eyes narrowed slightly. Under normal circumstances, the first priority of the Supreme Immortal Mysticism is to get started. The refining of Chengdu can only be comparable to the elementary universe treasure. If the second priority is to be refined, the general deities can reach the higher universe treasure. People, you can reach the top-level treasure. The sword is unparalleled. Obviously, it is the kind of person with strong foundation and extremely strong physique. When he is refined, the body is directly comparable to the top treasure. This is only the second, and then the third. Swords were released from the eyes of his sword, and his sleeve robe was swung again, and dozens of various treasures appeared on him. In front of these treasures, the most conspicuous is the golden fruit. Jinyuan God fruit, the value is amazing. Simply swallowing directly can greatly increase the strength of the body. In the vast universe, it is also a rare treasure. Many masters of the 4th and 5th series are eager to get such treasure, used to strengthen your own body. And if this Jinyuan fruit is combined with some special methods to make elixir, or it is combined with mystery cultivation, the effect is even better. Now, this Jinyuan fruit is the third most important part of the Sword Wushuang's cultivation of the Supreme Immortal Mystery. In the Tower of Time and Space, Jian Wushuang once again cultivated the third resurgence of the Supreme Immortal Shen. The third priority is longer than the second priority. It took a full 8,000 years, but the outside world only passed 8 years. The Supreme Immortal Mystery is the third most important thing. Wu Jianshou clenched his hands tightly and was able to feel the great transformation of his own body. Surprises and excitement appeared in his eyes. He can feel that after making the third immortal of the Supreme Immortal Body, the body is 10 times stronger than before. If the strength of his body before was just barely comparable to the top universe treasure, then his strength of the body is already comparable to the strongest treasure. Yes, it is the strongest treasure. Extreme is the third most important immortal body. The limit that can be cultivated by the ruler of the rule, the body is the strongest universe treasure. This is the most extreme ruler in the vast universe that can be reached on the body, and this body is also a legend among the rulers. Chapter 3948. Second more. Compared to the strongest treasure body, the strength of this body is much stronger than before. Jian Wushuang muttered. Before, he just made it into the first place. The body is comparable to the elementary high treasure, but now it is the strongest high treasure. There are several levels in the middle. How can it be the same? Now, he has such a terrible and overbearing body. If he encounters the first-level master, even if the top master takes the shot himself, Jian Wushuang does not need to move when he moves, and he can bombard him on the opponent's attack. At best, it can only tickle him. After all, in this star field, the highest-level magic soldiers used by the masters are the strongest cosmic treasures. the hardest of the most powerful cosmic treasures. The first series dominated with a full blow and couldn't shake the slightest. Even if his servants are his masters, all of them are the masters of the third series, and they are all very strong in the third series. But now the sword has no double-sided against these slaves. Even if they do not shoot, do not resist, these servants will not be afraid of his injuries too much. And if he wears the highest level of the best treasures of the most precious treasures, armor and soul armor, these slaves will be more difficult to hurt him. Moreover, the body is comparable to the strongest treasure, which for Jian Wushuang not only improves the strength of the body and the ability to protect the body, the power contained in such a powerful body is equally strong and outrageous. You must know that Jian Wushuang itself is only the master of rules. Compared with other masters in divine power, it has always occupied an absolute disadvantage. His divine power, even because he is a perfect life, is only comparable to the first-level elementary master. Even if he uses many secret skills, the willpower that has been given by the laws of the universe, etc., the divine power is still very weak, can only reach the second level, and then rely on the rule of the supreme treasure Wu Weeping Sword, the power can reach the peak of the second level. But this is also his extreme, unless the magic of dragon extinction is burned. But now, the strongest treasure body, the strength of this body alone, Jian Wushuang is estimated not to be weaker than the highest peak of the first level. He then performed a number of mysterious methods. His divine power could reach the peak of the second level, and relying on the Wu Weeping Sword, now he is purely in power, and should be barely comparable to the third level. This is undoubtedly a huge improvement for his overall strength. The three major sword formations I have created are all very subtle. In the past years of research in the Ion Tower, I have even promoted these three major sword formations to the extreme. The sword formation is extremely powerful. Now my divine power, the power has also skyrocketed, and the three major sword arrays will become even more terrible. Sword Wushuang held it firmly with both hands. His own strength is also important to the next battle with Demon Star. After knowing that the Demon Star army will reach this star field within 1,000 years, Jian Wushuang has begun to calculate the combat power and whole card possessed by his camp. First of all, on the bright side, the Star Palace has gathered a large number of rulers of this star field in recent years, plus a large number of powerful men born in the early days with the help of the Triple Path realm. When the battle with the Magic Cloud Star, it is inevitable there are an army of hundreds of thousands of rulers, and the rulers of these rules also have top arcane or peak arcane. In addition, the masters of these rules also formed a battle array, and the combat power that can be shipped will be stronger. As for the master, there are also many in his camp, and they all have the strongest treasures, and even a master may have several strong treasures. These are all forces on the bright side. These forces are now no secret at all in this star field. Most people know that when the army of Devil Stars arrives, just ask someone to ask. It is estimated that there will be so many rulers in the early gods. Of the army, there are many dominate the existence. However, this bright power can only cope with the army under the Demon Star. Demon Star, after all, is a second-level astral world. It has extremely high-level combat power. The Demon Star alone should be the master of the 4th rank. His Majesty also has a lot of strong. I am afraid that there are many masters in the series and the second series. These top fighting powers of the Demon Cloud Star. In the early days, the power of the Divine Realms camp relying solely on the bright side could not compete or even resist. However, in the early days of the Divine Realm, one side did not show up on the bright side, and there was a lot of hidden combat power. On the 41 slaves brought back from the eternal dark prison by the sword alone, this power is terrible enough to deal with the army of the Magic Cloud Star, other than the powerful Magic Cloud Star Master. The existence of these slaves is also a secret in the horoscope. Not many people know it. Even if Devil Star can get the news through some means, it is impossible to know what level these slaves brought back by Jian Wushuang. When the real war broke out, the two camps were fighting. The gods in the early days would be able to crush the Devil Star army if they were the best. But it is the Magic Cloud Star camp is really terrible, and the sword is unparalleled. There is always only one, that is the Magic Cloud Star Master. After all, it is a 4th level master. Even if it is just a breakthrough, I am not afraid to mess with it. However, Jian Wushuang also prepared for the means to deal with the Demon Star Master. He now has 3 combat powers and 2 whole cards, both of which are used to deal with the Demon Star Master. First of all, it is himself. Now, he is undoubtedly the strongest combat power of the gods in the early days. When he was in Eternal Dark Prison before, he got 3 Town monuments, cast the Magic Town Magic Circle, and cooperated with his sword array to display. He already had the ability to kill the Dragon Lord. But now, he has deliberately studied for more than 400,000 years in the Tower of Eternity, and has spawned 3 major sword formations, all of which are extremely arrogant. In addition, he has trained the Supreme Immortal to the 3rd level, which is comparable to the strongest treasure, God Body, so that his strength soared again. Now, if he is going all out to perform the magic of the Magic Town, he is confident that he will fight against the Demon Star Master. Even if he cannot defeat the opponent, he can rely on the sword array to entangle the opponent, and the problem should be small. Even if the power of the Demon Star is beyond his expectation, the big sword Jianshuang directly casts the Dragon Extermination skill, and the burning power makes his strength soar again. Then he can also fight the Demon Star. If the Demon Star Master has a lower strength than he expected, he will use Dragon Extermination to fully control the sword array. It is even more likely that the Demon Star Master will be killed on the spot. Chapter 3949. Third More. Shan Danjian Wushuang owns this combat power. He has the capital to compete with the Lord of the Stars. The second largest combat force is the battlefield of his sister-in-law, composed of 36 slaves. This fairy battlefield is the strongest battlefield that the Lord of Mars can come up with. It only takes 36 masters to work together, and all 36 of his servants are 3rd ranks. Dominating the combat power, 36 people are united in a battle line, and the combat power displayed in a short period of time can also reach the 4th level, and even in the 4th level is still very strong. In recent years, the 36 slaves have been staying in the Tower of Time and Space to enlighten the battle formation, and they have basically mastered it till now. Equals to the outbreak of the Battle of the Demon Star, this battle line must be able to play out. As for the 3rd combat power, it is the Magic Flame. At the peak of the Demon Flame, he was the master of the ultimate level. Although only the soul body is left, his gold-swallowing body has begun to be reshaped, relying on the gold fire magic stone, ice crystal, and blood that Jian Wushuang bought from Jiodi Pavilion Dragon Crystal. The magic gold-swallowing body can be restored to 20%. When the magic flame soul body dominates the gold-swallowing body, it is also a large 4th level dominating combat power. According to the Magic Flame himself, he has 90% certainty that he can defeat the Lord of the Clouds, even nearly 50% certainty in killing. The sword warriors themselves, the Magic Flame, and the 36 slaves formed the battlefield of immortals. These are the 3 strongest combat powers that sword warriors can get now, which are enough to pull the wrist of that Magic Cloud Star. In addition, Jian Wu has 2 cards in his hands. These 2 cards are of course the bamboo leaves and blood danks given to him by the Wind Demon. These 2 methods can be said to be 2 major killing tricks, which can be taken out at critical times to kill the Lord of the Clouds. Of course, the bamboo leaves are okay, but the blood dandelion. The Wind Devil originally said that it would cost a huge price to swallow the blood dandelion, and might even die. There is no doubt about this sword Wushuang, so this blood dandelion must be the final choice. Less than a last resort, he will never use this blood dan, but desperately with the Lord of the Clouds. 3 major combat powers, 2 major killing moves, this is everything that Swordsman has prepared. He believes that these means prepared by him should be enough to deal with the Lord of the Clouds. If even these methods still can't help the Lord of the Clouds, he has no other choice. Who? Breathed lightly, Jian Wushuang slowly stood up and looked around the void. In the years of the Eternal Tower, I have promoted what I can and can improve to the extreme, and even if I continue to practice here, I am afraid it will not help me much. Instead, it's a waste of time and it's time to leave. Wu Jianshou smiled lightly, even though he stepped away from the Tower of Time and Space. After walking out of the Tower of Time and Space, Jian Wushuang did not go to the Xingong, but chose to return to the ancient realm of eternity. Jian Wushuang's family lives here in the eternal holy realm. Father, mother. Wu Jinshuang stood in front of his parents. Both of his parents were here. Shuang'a, I heard that soon after the beginning of the kingdom of God will be robbed, and life and death are unpredictable. Now the top leaders of the whole kingdom of God have gathered together and are trying to improve their strength for the upcoming scene. Prepare for the war. You are now one of the leaders of the gods in the early days. If you do and prepare for the war, what do you come back for? Jian Nantian frowned. I have prepared almost everything I can prepare for this battle, and my strength has now reached the bottleneck, and I can't improve it in a short time, so I will continue to work hard for hundreds of years. I'm afraid that it's hard to make a little progress. I might as well spend this time with you. Jian Wushuang smiled. By Shan filial piety first. Jian Wushuang had been working hard in the early calamity in the early world of God, and was preparing, but he had not been able to accompany his family, even his wife, who had been scattered for so long before. He only accompanied his wife alone. It's only 1,000 years. But now, the real calamity is coming. Jian Wushuang's most wanted to do is to accompany his family. You child, the divine crisis is at the beginning. What you should consider first is how to deal with this calamity. Luo Xinqin stepped forward, although she said something in her mouth, but she carried it on her face. The smile shows that she is still very happy inside. The next few hundred years, our family will be in this pre-God world. Take a good stroll. Shuang'a, what do you think? Jian Wushuang looked at the peerless beauty next to him, but his eyes softened. I all listen to your husband. Leng Rushuang smiled. For Leng Rushuang, the safety of the whole world in the early days was not important. What she really cared about was being able to accompany Jian Wushuang, which was enough. Let's go, call Uncle Xiao together with them, as well as the boss Wang Yuan, the second child, the fourth child, and we set off together. Jian Wushuang laughed. It is good. Everyone answered. I soon passed out a message, and it didn't take long for Jian Wushuang and his team to gather hundreds of people. Among hundreds of people, there are relatives and friends of Jian Wushuang, as well as disciples, and the children of these relatives. Hundreds of people were arrogant, riding a warship, www. Novel. Com. They walked across a territory, from the ancient holy realm to the triple sky, and from the triple sky to the endless territory. Along the way, there were no obstacles, and no one or thing disturbed them. Jian Wushuang also gave up cultivation, and spent all these hundreds of years with his wife, his family and friends. They traveled all the way to the mountains and rivers, seeing all kinds of states in the world. If they are bored, they will stop in a territory and live for 10 or decades. The life is very happy and warm. What a pity, such a happy and warm life does not last long. It is only more than 530 years. One day after more than 530 years, Shen Yun dominated and sent a message to Jian Wushuang. The spaceship on which the Lord of the Blood Sword and the Lord of the Demon Clouds have arrived is near this star field, at most another month. We'll set foot in this star field. Are you finally here? Qi Jianhui's eyes narrowed, and he immediately looked at his relatives and friends. Sorry, I have to leave first. Hearing Jian Wushuang's words, the warship, which was still laughing and laughing, suddenly fell into freezing point. They all understand that these hundreds of happy and warm days have come to an end. As for whether they will have such a day in the future, it depends on the outcome of the next battle. Chapter 3950. The vast and vast universe is dark and dark, and you don't see any light. An ancient and huge cosmic boat travels through this dark void. This cosmic boat is extremely fast and obviously huge and heavy. It can travel in the dark void of the universe, just like a fish shuttles through the water. General. In the spacecraft, there is a strong and majestic atmosphere. Whether it is the cabin or the deck, there are a lot of strong men. Most of these people are the rulers of the rules, but there are also many masters. At the core of this cosmic boat, it is clearly a golden and brilliant palace. In the center of the palace, two figures are sitting on the towering throne, in front of which are wine and food. After a few days, I will be able to resist that star field. Alas, I said that I have lost one of the stars in this star field, but most of my deities stay in the magic cloud star. As for this star it's rare. I remember when I last came to this star, it was a long time ago. A middle-aged man with loose green robes and exquisite short hair, sighed with a bowl of wine with a unique smile on the corner of his mouth. This middle-aged man in green robe at first glance looks gentle and elegant, but his eyes are showing a strange golden color, which adds a bit of charm. And his identity is the Lord of the Clouds. It is also the source of the great calamity in the early days. Endless years ago, if it was the Lord of the Demon Cloud who came to this astral area, but unintentionally found the embryonic primordial world and eventually lost it, then many things will not happen at all. It will happen, and in the beginning the divine realm will be extremely stable. Unfortunately, everything changed because of the arrival of the Lord of the Clouds. At present, the entire pre-God realm is in a distress because of the Lord of the Demon Cloud. Once it fails to pass through, the pre-God realms of countless souls will all lose their lives. Devil Cloud, I said yes, when you get to that astral world, you have to let me take a look at the astral world you have taken away. It is best to let me walk inside the astral world. Sit opposite the Lord of the Clouds, a purple warframe man said. The man in the purple armor is burly. At first glance, it looks like a mountain. He is sitting opposite the Lord of the Clouds, and his behavior is not accompanied by awe, and the Lord of the Clouds obviously communicates with his peers. Sihua, you can rest assured that my astral world, don't say you just look at it, even if you live there for a long time, as long as you want to, the Lord of the Clouds smiled. I don't intend to stay in your astral world for a long time. I was just out of curiosity and wanted to check it out. Although it is only a third-level astral world, after all, it was born by the vast universe by itself. Alas, it's enviable. The purple warframe man admired while showing unabashed envy. I'm just lucky. I was forced into desperation in Demon Star before I ran to other territories to try my luck. The result really made me run into luck. Demon Star laughed. Stand up. Of course you have luck. But you did not die while taking over the astral realm, but you succeeded in taking over, and this ability is not weak. The purple warframe man praised it. He knew very well that even if it was in one of the astral planes in the embryo, it would be a lifetime of death. The success of the Demon Star Master was also the result of his own encounter. He was forced into desperation and finally found a great opportunity. Naturally, he desperately did not leave himself any back road, and he succeeded. The Lord of the Clouds and the purple warframe man are chatting and laughing at will. Suddenly, the Lord Yunyun's expression moved, and the two people who had waited were aware of the void in front of the spacecraft. Get the two in front. The Lord of the Clouds sends a message to the strong man on the cosmic boat. Soon the spacecraft stopped in the dark void ahead, and the two people who had been waiting there came to the spacecraft and soon appeared in front of the Lord of the Clouds. Have met Lord of the Clouds. The two of them who came slightly saluted the Lord of the Demon Stars, and they both carried a hint of humility. Xing Luo Wuxin, you two are hiding here? The Lord of the Clouds stared at the two in front of him with interest. These two are the Lord of Xinglua and the Witch God. Dominated by Xinglua is the master as cold as snow, although this is a gorgeous dividing line. Tips for novel netizens. Please pay attention to the rest of your eyes when reading for a long time. This is a gorgeous division. Of course, he does not belong to the powerful master of the Lord of the Clouds, but he has also cooperated with the Lord of the Clouds. In the past, Jian Wushuang was trying to find the location of the Lord of the Stars in order to restore his wife as cold as frost. Turn up. As for the Witch God, when he was in charge of the Witch God religion in the early world of the gods, he stood in the same camp with the three sacred realms, and he also shot against the sword unparalleled. Later, after Jian Wushuang destroyed the three sacred realms, he was also looking for the trace of this Witch God, and wanted to find him and kill him, but this witch seemed to evaporate on earth, without any trace. But now, the two men Jian Shoushuang are looking for, both are here. No way, now that star field is completely a star palace. The power of the star palace is everywhere in the star field, even the three major battlefields of the universe, and their people are everywhere. Jian Wushuang has been searching for the trace of my two. If the two of us are still in the star field at this time, they have already been found. They can only stay at the edge of this star field and wait for the magic cloud star. Lord, you're coming. Wu Shengong smiled. Wu God, do you remember the original agreement with this seat? The Lord of the Clouds stared at the witch god in front of him. Of course I remember, but since the three sacred realms were uprooted by the sword unparalleled, all of my planned methods have stopped, and I have nothing to do. Wu Shinto. This is not a problem. After I have leveled this star field and killed all the swords and other people around him, your methods can naturally be rerun. Demon Star said. The words are so, but now the sword Wushuang and the power of Taichu God Realm are not the same as before. It is not so easy to completely uproot the resistance of Taichu God Realm, said Wu God. Oh. Lord Moyun frowned. Then you talk about, to what extent has the resistance force of the gods in the early years reached these years? The Lord of the Demon Clouds, as far as I know, because of the relationship between the Lord of the Blood Sword and the Lord of Gods in the early years, he has received a lot of resources and treasures, and he has also collected a lot of powerful people. Especially in recent years, it brings together nearly 70% of the high-level combat power of this star field. The witch god began to narrate. Chapter 3951. The first is more. Listening to the description of the witch god, until the witch god finishes speaking, the look of the Lord of the Clouds has not changed at all. The entire star field, nearly 70% of the high-level combat power? The Lord of the Clouds' disdain smiled. It's just some of the rule-level ants. No matter how many, they are still just ants. In front of my army of the demon stars, it's basically not worth mentioning. Besides that, I also heard that Jian Wushuang brought back a group of strong men from someplace not long ago, about 30 or 40, and those strong ones do not seem to be weak. Wu God said again. Jian Wushuang brought back a group of strong men from the eternal dark prison. This matter is still considered a secret in this star field. Even in the star palace, not many people know about it, but this which has been hidden at the edge of this star field, how could he even know about it? A group of strong? How strong can it be? The Lord of the Clouds looked down. It should all be masters. As for the specific combat power, it is not clear. Wu Shinto. Ha, master? The masters of this star field, but they are only the first-level hierarchy. At most, 1 or 2 second-rank masters will come out. In front of this seat, this can be regarded as a strong one. It's ridiculous. The Lord of the Clouds smiled, still not caring. I heard this. The witch god took a deep look at the Lord of the Clouds, but didn't say more. Okay, nothing else, you go down first. Lord Moyun waved his hand. Yes. Wu Shen nodded and bowed away. After the witch god left, the Lord of the Demon Star still looked calm, but the purple battle armor man sitting beside him frowned. Devil Cloud, who was that person just now? The purple warframe man asked. It was a master who had come to me not long ago. He knew that I had taken away one side of the astral world, and he took the initiative to find me and worked for me. Although I had taken that side of the astral world before, I did not know how to maximize utilizing that astral world, or the witch told me how to use it. The plan was also he came up with. Demon Star mastered. Is that so? The purple warframe man nodded slightly, but then said again, I just saw this man, and although he seems to be dominating the hierarchy in general, he always gives me a feeling that I can't fully see through. Magic Yun, have you ever felt that way when you faced him? You say that it is true that there may be some secrets in him, but no matter what, he is just an ordinary first-level master. You and I can kill him at will with a slap. Don't worry about what waves he will make, Demon Star said. This is also true. The purple armor man nodded slightly. Then the Lord of the Clouds looked at the Lord of Stars again. Xing Luo, take out the treasure of this seat, the Lord of the Clouds said. Lord Xingluo immediately waved his hand, and suddenly a black spear, exuding the breath of endless destruction, appeared in the void of the temple. This black spear not only exudes a strong sense of destruction, but most importantly, it also has a unique power, which makes the purple Warframe man look at him. Devil Cloud, what is this spear? It's obviously not a rule of treasure, but why does it make me feel so special? The purple Warframe man asked. Of course it's special. This spear comes from the Diwu temple with a trace of special power. Because of this special power, the value of this spear is much higher than the most powerful arcane treasure. Compared to the rule of treasure, the difference is not too much. Demon Star said. Treasures from Diwu temple? No wonder. The purple Warframe man appeared surprised, and then he was relieved. Xing Luo, thank you for taking back this spear for this seat. I owe you a favor. When this incident is over, this seat will completely wipe out this star field. This seat will give you what you need. Yours. Demon Star said. Then I will wait for the good news of the Lord of the Clouds. After the Lord Xingluo finished speaking, he turned and left. In the temple hall, the Lord of the Clouds continued to talk with the purple armor man, but the speed of the spacecraft did not slow down at all. Soon, it had already traveled through the vast dark void and officially entered the area of this star field. Taichu Divine Realm, Eternal Holy Realm. After being summoned by Shen Yun, Jian Wushuang returned with many of his family and friends. Father, Mother, and everyone, you are sure, do not leave the early world of God? Jian Wushuang looked solemnly at his parents in front of him and his relatives and friends. As soon as the battle was over, he planned to take his own close relatives and friends away from the early gods. With his current strength and methods, he completely finds a place for them to live in this astral area, such as in other astral realms, so that at least he can ensure that these close relatives are safe and sound. What a pity, when he raised this matter, none of his relatives was willing to leave. Neither of them intends to leave, but they want to stay in the early world of God. Schwanger, you don't need to say more, we have already considered it very clearly before, and stay in the Taichu God realm, and live and die with Taichu God realm. Jiannan Tiandao. Yes, in the early days, the world gave birth to me and so on. It is our hometown, where our hometown is robbed. Even if I can't help a few people, I want directly abandon it and flee alone, let alone we live it's been long enough, and even if the next moment the kingdom of God will collapse, I will die after all, I have nothing to regret. Zhui Yunfeng also laughed. When you got into the enemy, you and I have fled once, and we have no plans to experience the second time in those days. Luo Xinqin also said. He is not only the parents of the two generations of Jian Wushuang, but also Wang Yuan, Yang Zishuan, Su Rou and others. Embarrassed, no one chose to abandon Taichu Divine Realm and escape alone. They all plan to live and die with the gods of the early days and suffer together. In this regard, Jian Wushuang is also very helpless, and cannot be forced. After all, he himself is also a member of the early world. At this embarrassment, he is going to carry the big beam for the early world. He himself also decided to live and die with the early world. Am all like this, how can I restrain or force the people around me? That being the case, then this time, we will live and die with the early gods. Jian Wushuang clenched his hands. Many of the close relatives and friends in front of him also smiled, and their eyes were determined. Alas! Chapter 3952. Second more. Looking at the determination in the eyes of many close friends and relatives, Jian Wushuang's heart has set off a dreadful wave. He knew that he had no retreat in the next battle. Once defeated, he cannot afford the consequences. Therefore, no matter how much the price is paid, he must win. You will go first. Jian Wushuang said in a deep voice. I'll go with you. Leng Rushuang came over, holding sword unparalleled hands. Well, we are together. Jian Wushuang nodded. Immediately, the couple left at the same time and headed for the place where the strongest gods in the early Taizhou gathered. Sun Jiannan Tian, Ji Wuming, Zhui Yunfeng, Luo Xinqin, Wang Yuan, Yang Zishuan, Su Rou. A swordsman's closest relative and his life and death brother, all watched Jinshuang and his wife leave. In addition to their decisive eyes, they also have a look of expectations. The bottom of their hearts is screaming frantically. Must win. Be sure to win. Out of the realm of God in the early days, in the void near the edge of the universe, countless powerful people are gathered here at this moment. Among these strong men, there are a large number of strong men who came from the Taiji God realm in these years, relying on the triple path realm to rise up in the shortest time, and the masters of many rules that already exist in the Taiji God realm, a total of 140,000 rule masters. There are also countless strong men who have been recruited by Star Palace over the past few years, plus the strong ones who belong to their majesty. The number is even more exaggerated with a total of 560,000 people. The master of the 560,000 rules of the Xingxing Palace, plus the master of the 140,000 rules of the early gods, is 700,000. The main arm of the 700,000 rules, although the main strength levels of these rules are different, many of them are only at the level of the Void 2 realm or the Void 3 realm, but the Void 4 realms, the 5 realms, the 6 realms, and even the 6 there are many powerful men in the extreme. And there is another feature of the master of the 700,000 rules, that is, the manpower has the treasure, and the lowest is the top treasure. As for the strength, it is a little stronger, and the peak treasure is used. Of course, with the original background of the Star Palace, even if there were 100,000 pieces of peak treasures brought back before the Sword Wushuang, it is impossible for the 700,000 Rule Master army to have a top or peak treasure. The reason why now it was done because Jian Wushuang went to the Red Cloud realm himself a while ago. He found the Lord Wu in the Red Cloud realm, and Lord Wu agreed to send him another batch of treasures. This batch of arcana is 1 million pieces of top arcana and 300,000 peak arcana. With the addition of these treasures, the treasures in the Star Palace are naturally very abundant. Even if the top 700 soldiers of the 700,000 rule now have a top or even peak treasure, there is still a lot of surplus in the palace. This man has a master army of 700,000 rules at the top and even the peak. Under the command of the Lord of Mars, he has formed 7 huge battle arrays. Each battle has 100,000 people, which is equivalent to 7 legions. With the help of the battlefield, any army can explode into a horrible power. And if the 7 legions are separated, every 10,000 people can form a 10,000-man battle line, and the displayed combat power is not weak. The battlefield of 10,000 people is split again, it is a battlefield of thousands of people. In short, in less than 1,000 years, under the control of the master of the martial arts, the master of the Martian rule, the combat power of this rule's army has increased many times. This is only the master level of rules. As for the master, in the past millennium, the Star Palace has used the strongest treasure, and it has also attracted many masters. All of them have more than 30, and these masters have the strongest treasure. Some even have 2 or 3, and this combat power is not low. All these are the fighting powers that have now been revealed on the bright side. As for other fighting powers, such as those of the swordless pair, they have not appeared except the Lord of Mars. Suddenly, 3 figures appeared in the camp of the gods in the early days. Among these 3 figures, Jian Wushuang and Leng Rushuang walked in front of them, and behind them, they followed a cold-looking Jinjia man. This golden armor man is burly, like a tower, guarding Jian Wushuang. Hitting him is just staying in the blood-colored gourd, and he has also surrendered to the magic flame of the sword Wushuang. In recent years, because the flames have swallowed the gold fire magic stones, ice crystals, and blood dragon crystals, the gold-swallowing gods they have built have been continuously repaired, and 20% have been repaired before. Out of the scarlet gourd, turned into this burly man with gold armor, followed by Jian Wushuang. Stone fire. Jian Wushuang summoned. Soon afterwards, the Lord of Mars, the god of Shen Shinto, and the Lord of Time and Space have already come to Jian Wushuang. Master! The Lord of the Martian Xiang Jianshou respectfully saluted. Heavenly friend, you are here. Shen Shinto people just said hello. Stonefire, I'll let you give these rulers and my slaves to practice battle formation. What's the matter now? Jian Wushuang asked. The master rest assured that the main army of the rule has been practicing the battlefield in my way over the years. Although their battlefields consist of a large number of strong men, the battlefield itself is not too complicated. They are all ruler of the rules. It was very easy to master these wars, and now that they are basically skilled, they can fully exert the power of these battles. As for the masters and slaves, you have been practicing in the Tower of Time and Space, and you have already mastered the Battle of Xinyu by the speed of time. Later, you have secretly simulated and practiced for more than 300 years. Now they are immortals. Once the battlefield is on display, the might will be extremely powerful. However, this fairy battle array is a big whole card, including the strength of the slaves of the master. The magic cloud star should not have received the news yet, so I let them hide for the time being, and then shot at a critical time. Stone Mars said, "Well, you did a good job." Jian Wushuang nodded his head, and was very satisfied with what the Martian Lord had done over the years. "Xian Shen, I don't understand. Why do you choose the place where the decisive battle with the Demon Star will take place, and choose the cosmic void that is closest to the primordial world?" Jian Wushuang asked in confusion. Although it is already within the cosmic void, it is the place of the early gods. The distance is too close. Once the war breaks out, if the powers of the two sides are not well controlled, the attack of the powers may spread to the early gods. Above the realm, it will also cause a lot of damage to the early divine realm. Chapter 3953. Third More. Heavenly friend, you don't know. We chose the battlefield of the decisive battle here, and there is no way. After all, we have to give ourselves and leave a back road for the countless powerhouses in the early gods. The results of this kind of warfare are too passive. and the Lord of the Clouds may not give them any chance. Still puzzled, like the original, the mysterious Shinto man explained, years ago, Devil Star, after all, is a second-level astral in the early divine realm. Its overall strength, capital including how strong the Devil Master is, so at that time, is unknown. The seven-star Xuanzong did not dare to run out of the universe to fight against high-level combat power of the star field, stay in the divine world men you brought back. Can the entanglement with the Lord of the Cloud army with these strong means was still disintegrated by the Lord of the Clouds. Directly if it is good to win in the sacred realms to the powers of the early gods, then we have to plan for some of the external lords of the early years of the gods, destroyed the seven-star so we choose the battlefield here. In the first battle, here is the cosmic void, which can allow the strong on both sides. In the early days, the most powerful there was basically no room for and it is entirely possible for the two sides to fight together. Forces in the early divine realm the advantage knew this, we can naturally destroy the army of the demon star. And even if I lose of the divine realm, strong there was capital to contend with the demon star. So I chose the cosmic void at the edge of the early divine realm. In the early days of the divine realm, after all, it was only a third-level astral realm, and it was an exclusion of his frosty hand, especially those who dominated the void. They could not exert much combat power in the early others also followed him. It is the will of the heavenly gods to give up the early god soul has been covered, and it can sense the breath of the Lord of countless rules. Even if his deity enters the world of the early gods, he will not be able to exert his peak Lord of the White Star Temple. Our side, the faction, can continue to entangle with the demon star in the realm of the early gods and continue to fight. And the masters of many rules fighting in the nine-tailed world of the gods is very strong man he is familiar with is the Lord of the Clouds can completely ignore us and continue to cultivate in the triple evolution of the early world of gods. Although they have not made a breakthrough and become the master force, they have made three sacred realms. It's also huge. Our camp can always interfere with His Majesty's strong look, more or less can affect his plan in one direction, and also give as much time as possible to the early gods. The breath of the Lord with dozens of rules gathered, could not help most of those breaths were women. He understood the meaning the person who is too far in the next valley of love. There were actually only three results. Eyes narrowed slightly. The first result, and he looked at the result they are most eager to achieve, is the beheading of the Lord of the Clouds. As long as the Lord of the Clouds dies, as the swordless twin can be lifted without the power of the heavenly will of his predecessor. The second result is that it is the second high in the valley of love. It can't kill the Lord of the demon star, but also completely defeats the devil and star army, and his eyes so that the power of these strong men who were too high into the kingdom of the early gods. That way, even if the demon lord is still alive and still dominates the heavenly will of the early deities, but if he has no help in the early deities, his plan to accelerate the evolution of the early deities and improve his own power will certainly be huge. Meet the Lord of the Blood Sword. Even if not completely stopped, the gray-haired vicissitudes old woman slowed down significantly, which gives Jian Wuxuang a lot of time to break through the master, and shouted, "No matter which one of these two results is achieved." In the beginning, the deity side was actually acceptable. He had dealt with this old valley owner several times two battles are not and it was achieved, precisely because of the old valley owner's relationship that he had to make concessions, is unwilling and he could only leave by the countless strong men in the early stage of the world. To wake up her wife's soul body. The camp of the early gods was defeated by the old valley owner in front of him. The rejection of the strong outside world by the divine realm continues to entangle and fight with the army of demons. The moving eyes locked directly on the body of a beautiful figure behind Lord Laogu. Wu Jianwushuang also looked at the beautiful figure. That is a truly amazing woman, and whether this woman is looks or temperament, it is similar to the current coldness. However, because Lung Rushuang reshaped the body with the heart of the astral world, the body is more perfect, which is not comparable to the woman in front of her. Fu Jun, who is that woman? Lung Rushuang asked with doubt. She is your second life, you are one with her, but now she is her, you are you. Jian Wushuangdo. Is that so? Lung Rushuang nodded slightly, but looked at the other side but was more curious. Jian Wushuang looked at the woman, but noticed that the woman's breath was quite arrogant, and she had reached the extreme of the 6 realms of void, and the most important thing was that the breath on the woman was too cold, and the cold perfection was not like no matter how emotional she stood there, but no matter how the sword Wushuang arrived or looked directly into the frosty eyes, her look did not change at all. This is a real person with no emotion at all. Just like the purpose of Taishang Wangqing Valley, forgetting all emotions, she has obviously cultivated the unique divine magic of Taishang Wangqing Valley, and is more perfect than the old Valley Master, and the level of cultivation is higher. She is truly like a fairy, and does not eat on earth. There is no emotion anymore. What is the difference between such a person and the walking dead? Jian Wushuang shook his head secretly. Wu Taishang's unique divine magic is very powerful, but the price is unacceptable to Jian Wushuang. The Lord of the Blood Sword, this one next to you, should be your wife, right? The old my lord Mai looked over, and her face was still smiling. It seems that the Lord of the Blood Sword you found the ice heart glass jade now. Bingxin glazed jade? Jian Wu's eyes were cold. Speaking of this Bingxin glazed jade, I'm still very annoyed now. Mai, you are not brave enough. How dare you deceive me then? How to deceive? Lord of the Blood Sword, where do you start? Mai yi stunned. You said that my wife's soul was attached to the agarwood of the star and moon for millions of years, to ensure worry-free, even at most only hundreds or thousands of years, my wife's soul will wake up, but later after tens of thousands and even 100,000 years, my wife's soul never awakened. Until the end I met an expert, and he told me that the billion-year-old Xingyue agarwood couldn't maintain my wife's soul body at all. My wife's soul has always been attached to the agarwood of Xingyue. The soul has already been damaged. The ice heart glass jade can't recover her body at all. If I have not obtained a higher level treasure by chance, I am afraid I will never see my wife in this life. Jian Wushuang's voice was also extremely cold. What? Mai was startled. By how? The billion-year-old Xingyue agarwood should be able to keep your wife's soul body intact. No, Lord of the Blood Sword, forgive me too shallowly, I really thought you the wife's soul is sheltered by 100-year-old Xingyue agarwood, and there will be no problem. I did not expect it to be like this. Raimi was also anxious. She knows the importance of cold as frost to Jian Wushuang, otherwise Jian Wushuang would not be so crazy for cold as frost before. With Jian Wushuang's current strength and status, if she really wanted to investigate the previous incident, she would drop her anger a little, and it was not that she could afford it too much. Jian Wushuang glanced coldly at Mai, and the anger in his heart gradually subsided. He can see that this Mai is indeed not lying, at least not deliberately deceiving herself, but at the time she thought that the billion-year-old Xingyue agarwood was enough to protect his wife. Well, now that I've been reunited with my wife, I'm too lazy to punish you again, and the war with Devil Star is about to come. You who are too far into the valley of affection, still try your best in this battle. Jian Wushuang snorted coldly and turned and left. Cold and frosty, she just glanced deeply at the woman whose face and temperament were similar to her, and immediately left. When I saw Jian Wushuang leaving, these people who were too far into the valley of anger only exhaled heavily. After walking around the area where many rulers gathered, Jian Wushuang came to the place where many rulers gathered. Because of the relationship between the threefold Taoism world, in the early years, the world side has also added a lot of new masters over the years. Among these masters, a few are familiar with Jian Wushuang. Shenhua, congratulations on your breakthrough and dominance. Wu Jianso went directly to the Lord of the Fire Lord. Shenhua Lord, in the early days of the Divine Realm, has reached the extreme of the 6 realms of void, and with the help of the Triple Realm, these years have already reached the level of domination, and he can be said to be the number 1 created by the Triple Realm. A master. As for Emperor 13, who broke earlier than him, in fact, he broke through with his own strength, and it has nothing to do with the Triple Path. Giantianho, no, now it should be called the Lord of the Blood Sword. It is a rare thing. With your current status and status, you can still remember me. Shenhua Lord smiled. You have been with me for so many years as a guard, how can I forget this feeling? Jian Wushuang smiled. When he was weak at the beginning, he was in the Divine Realm in the early days. There were not many friends around him, and Shenhua Lord was definitely one of them. And the Shenhua Lord did help him a lot. The Shenhua Demon Lord now broke through the master. Because of the sword Shuang relationship, he was immediately given several strongest treasures, not only the strongest treasure warrior, but also the strongest treasure warframe, including domain, flying the strongest class of treasures, all have. With these strongest treasures, in the next battle with Demon Star, Shenhua Lord's life-saving ability can also be greatly improved. Chapter 3955. The first is more. Yan Jian Wushuang and Shenhua Lord trembled at will, but at this time he noticed the two figures next to him. Heaven, life. Sword Wushuang looked and walked forward. The Lord of the Blood Sword. Both the Bone God and the Meteorite King are extremely humble. You too, here too, Minggu, you have already broken through to reach the dominance? Jian Wushuang looked at the Minggu old monster and could sense the dominating level breath emanating from the opponent. It's true, long ago, I've broken through to dominate. But the ghostly old man said. Oh! Jian Wushuang stunned. Heavenly friend, in fact, Minggu already stood by my star house long ago, but no one knows it. Xian Shinto said. Is that so? Sword unparalleled. It's no wonder that this bone-in-the-bone monster has been helping himself everywhere. It turned out that from the beginning, this bone-in-the-bone monster was someone in his own camp. In the beginning, the world was our hometown after all. Although I didn't have much ability, I wouldn't watch my hometown fall into desperation and ignore it. The ghostly old man laughed. As for his death, he told me Ben is a friend, and this time he came with me. Although the two of us were not very helpful in this battle, they were more or less capable. Wu Jian Wushuang nodded. The Great War was imminent, and many powerful men on the one side of the divine realm in the early days were extremely united. Only in this way, I have the hope of winning in the next battle with Demon Star. At this moment, Xin Yun's master suddenly passed. The Lord of the Blood Sword, there is bad news. Xin Yun's voice was a bit low. Bad news? Jian Wushuang frowned. What's the matter? The Lord of the Blood Sword, when I told you before, the spacecraft in which Devil Star was traveling stopped for a while passing by a star field. Before that, my 9 Emperors Pavilion didn't know what the spacecraft was staying there, but now I figured it out. Shen Yun dominated the pause and continued. The spacecraft of the Demon Star will stay in that star field because one of the star fields the strong, the beginning of God. Shihua Shenjun. Jian Wushuang remembered the name. The Shihua King is a master of the 4th series. Although it is only the elementary level of the 4th series, it also has great fame in many nearby star domains, and he and the magic cloud star the Lord himself is very familiar, and the two seem to have a good relationship. This time, the demon star passed the sea of knowledge in that star field, and invited him to come towards this star field together. Shen Yun dominated. What did you say? The sword has no double-sided color changed immediately. You mean that in the cosmic boat that Demon Star is now riding, in addition to Demon Star Master, there is also a starter who has also reached the 4th rank of Master level. Deity? That's it. Shen Yun dominated slightly and nodded. Damn. Jian Wushuang held his 2 hands, but he could not help cursing. A single Lord of the Cloud Star is already extremely difficult. In recent years, although he has prepared many means, these means combined give him a certain confidence to face the Lord of the Clouds, but he still has no absolute confidence to win in this battle. But now it's better. In addition to the Lord of the Demon Clouds, there is even a Shihua King. He is also the master of the 4th series. If this initiating prince shoots, his combat power can completely affect or even change the whole battle situation. Shen Yun is the master. Can you determine the relationship between the Lord of the Demon Cloud and the Shihua King? If it comes to a critical moment, he will surely shoot? Jian Wushuang asked. Of course, the relationship between the two of them can be ascertained. They are indeed friends. This point has heard about some of the strong players in the surrounding star domains. At the 4th level, coupled with the existence of an originalization god, this lineup does not know if the side of the early gods can resist it. Chapter 3956. Second more. If it can be blocked, but if it can't be blocked, this is a trivial matter at the beginning of the divine world. The key is the Lord of the Blood Sword. I'm afraid it will die. Another cabinet master frowned. For Jiujie Pavilion, the life and death of the gods in the early days did not care. The only thing they care about is the life and death of Jian Wushuang. After all, Jian Wushuang is a real super genius, and his name has already been included in the list of 9 emperors. If he can grow up in the future, it will also be beneficial to their 9 emperors pavilion. Unfortunately, I do not fight for hegemony and do not participate in the battle between all forces. Although the Lord of the Blood Sword is a person on the list of 9 emperors, my 9 emperor courts will only provide him with some basic help, but it won't help him get out of crisis. This battle is life or death, all depends on himself. Shen Yun dominated his head secretly. 9 emperors pavilion will not care about the life and death of those who are strong in the 9 emperors list. Especially those who are young and not yet growing up. Like Jian Wushuang now, although Jiuding Pavilion pays more attention to his genius, it still does not give Jian Wushuang too much help. Even if Jian Wushuang encounters an extreme situation, Jiuding Pavilion will not shoot. This is after all, there are so many geniuses in the Jiudi Pavilion. After all, if anyone encounters a threat and Jiudi Pavilion assists, Jiuji Pavilion will pay too much, and it will be too busy. Furthermore, it is impossible to sail smoothly along the way. Anyone who wants to become a top power must go through hardships. The talented man in the list of 9 emperors is in danger, but this is what Jiudi Pavilion is willing to see, because these dangers are some disciplines in Jiudi Pavilion's view. Only those who can truly grow up in this time and time to reach the top level of the universe can really be qualified to ask Jiudian Pavilion to take a shot. The current sword Wushuang is too far away from that level. I hope the Lord of the Blood Sword can survive this time. Shen Yun's master can only think of it this way. An ancient and huge cosmic boat appeared in the void on the edge of the Taiji Divine Realm. In the Taiji Divine Camp, hundreds of thousands of practitioners looked at this ancient cosmic ship. Their faces became dignified. Finally, here it is. Wu Jian's eyes narrowed slightly, and there was an astonishing fierce flash in the depths of his eyes. His wife was as cold as frost, standing next to him. The gods, the masters of time and space, the Lord of the Sky and the ancestors of the heavens also stood next to Jian Wushuang. Many high-level powers in the early gods looked at the front. The appearance of the ancient cosmic boats, one by one, was trembling, and their hearts were shaking slightly. Buzzing humming. The ancient spacecraft finally stopped completely in that dark void, followed by numerous dense figures rushing out of the spacecraft like wasps. These people are the strong armies of the Demon Star, and they are also the main level of rules. As for the number, they are much less than the camp of the gods in the early days, only 100,000 people. However, although the number of rulers in the Demon Star army is far from being comparable to the beginning of the Divine Realm, the rulers of the Demon Star are all wearing the same black armor, even holding in their hands. The magic soldiers are also the same standard magic soldiers. The breath on them is even more magnificent. The ruler of the 100,000 rules is at least the highest level of the Void Realm, and the Void Realm occupies more than half. Not to mention quality, the lord of these rules of the Demon Star army is much stronger than the lord of the rules of the early gods. In the early days of the Divine Realm, although there was a main army of 700,000 rules, forming an army of 700,000 people, but the strength of the 700,000 people was uneven. Although there were many rulers of the 6 realms in Void, but in terms of quantity, it is not as many as Demon. This is just a simple comparison of the number of people and the quality. They can really fight each other. The coordinated military formations, the degree of tacit understanding, and various means are the keys to victory. Although there were 700,000 troops in the Divine Realm at the beginning of the Tai Dynasty, it was really necessary to fight against the master army of the 100,000 rules of Demon Star. It may not be possible to have a complete victory. Suddenly, hundreds of streamers swept from the ancient cosmic boat at the same time and appeared in the forefront of the army of 100,000 rules. These streamers are truly the masters of the Demon Star camp, with hundreds of people, and the head is the Demon King and Shihua King. He is the Lord of the Clouds? Jian Wushuang stared at the most conspicuous person in the crowd ahead. It was a middle-aged man who looked extremely elegant. He stood at the forefront of the Demon Star army, carrying his hands, a smile on the corners of his mouth, and the pale gold in his eyes. Extremely evil feeling. The Lord of the Demons and Clouds, the root of this war is also the real source of the calamity in the early days of the gods. The Lord of the Devil Clouds looks ordinary, and it doesn't give people a terrible look, and I can't sense the specific breath on him. Jian Wushuang squinted his eyes slightly. He knows that the more ordinary he feels, the more the Lord of the Clouds proves. Should the purple armor man next to him be the Shihua Lord? Jian Wushuang looked at the Shihua Lord again. Is also the 4th level master. Jian Wushuang did not dare to have a little bit of for the Shihua prince. Huh. Jian Wushuang's look suddenly moved, his eyes immediately locked. A master behind Demon Star. Xinglua dominates. Jian Wu's eyes narrowed, his eyes flashed with a hint of sharpness. He knows the Lord of Xinglua, but he stands next to the Lord of Xinglua. He has not seen the true deity of the god, but he can't recognize it, but the Xian Shinto people, several of them immediately recognized the of the witch. Is the witch god? This witch is very cunning. At the time, the 3 sacred realms were destroyed, and the 3 lords of the 3 sacred realms were beheaded and killed. But the witch has fled far away. But he couldn't find him. I really don't know where he has been hiding all these years. The gods of Shen and the Lord of Time and Space also looked at the of witches with a hint of killing. I didn't expect that in such a short period of time, you could reach this step. The sword is unparalleled. You are really surprised by this feat. The hearty laughter sounded suddenly. Chapter 3957. Third more. Master? Jian Wu looked cold. Simple conversation, but it has caused Jian Wushuang to have a terrible killing intention. After all, his master Xian Yi died in the hands of the Lord of the Demon Clouds. Sword unparalleled. I heard that you are now recognized as the number 1 in this star field. I am curious, what step has your strength reached now? The Lord of the Clouds smiled and suddenly waved. A towering throne formed out of nothing behind him. The Lord of the Clouds sat on the throne in such a big swing and looked down at everything. Snack food. Lord Moyun stared. Star Lord. A man more than 2 meters tall and looking like a brown bear came out. Go up and try this little guy's strength. Remember, don't kill it at the beginning, otherwise it won't be interesting. The magic cloud star played with the taste. Yes. The burly man, like a brown bear, immediately stepped forward. Which is Jian Wushuang, come up and die. This burly man stood like a brown bear standing in front of the hundreds of thousands of troops in the early world of God, and uttered a loud drink. Jian Wushuang frowned. What does the Lord of the Demon Cloud want to do? Will the battle be ahead of time? Is it necessary? Jian Wushuang had doubts in his heart, but immediately he noticed all the eyes around with special expressions. These eyes all came from the strong men in the early divine camp. At this moment, the eyes of hundreds of thousands of strong people are focused on him. These eyes are full of anticipation and enthusiasm. As the Lord of the Clouds said, Jian Wushuang is now the undisputed strongest in this star field, and one of the greatest reliants of the camp in the beginning of this war. There are no doubts about the countless practitioners of the field in the beginning. It is based on him, and now the other party is actively inviting to fight. If this sword is unparalleled, it is okay if it wins, but if it is defeated, it will be a tremendous blow to your own camp. You know, now only one of the masters of the Lord of the Clouds comes to invite the battle. If you can't defeat even the swords, you don't need to fight again. The Lord of the Demon Cloud seems to want to win the battle more easily. Jian Wu has 2 sides indifferent, perceiving the countless prospects around him. Jian Wushuang understands that he must not shrink from this battle. Must fight, but also extremely clean defeat and even kill each other. Only in this way will his morale be unaffected. Su took a deep breath, and Jian Wushuang stepped forward, stopping in the void in front of the burly man. You are Jian Wushuang? The ruler of a rule? The burly man glanced at Jian Wushuang. His eyes flashed disdain immediately. The ruler of the cricket ant, he doesn't know what his master wants him to do to deal with a cricket ant? Although he didn't understand, the burly man still said in a deep voice, I am Lord His Majesty the fourth god will eat. Lord said, do nt want to kill you from the beginning, so rest assured, I won't let you die so soon, but if you are too weak, you can't even take my simplest attack, then it's no wonder that I die. You don't kill me the first time, but I will kill you the first time. Jian Wushuang said indifferently. The kid is mad enough. Sure smiled coldly, but his body immediately had a fierce breath rising. This breath was so earth-shattering that many practitioners in the early world of the divine realm were astonished. Color. I can't help it. In this star field, the strength of the practitioners is really too low. The strongest before was worthy to reach the second series level, but now the simmering breath is clearly at the third series level. The master of the third level, the practitioners of this star field have never seen it before, now I feel this breath, of course, terrified. Wu Kejian was unparalleled, but after he noticed this breath, he still looked calm. This breath is also the third level primary dominating level, and it is very general among the third level primary dominating. You can easily bring out a third level dominator in the eternal dark prison. I am afraid that it is stronger than him. Strength, no need to waste time, just kill. Wu Jianshou did not take this nibble at all. I saw that his right hand was turned over, and Wu Wei's divine sword appeared in his hand. The breath of the rule's treasure level spread, making many of the devil stars dominate, including Devil Star Master and Shihua King. It's a bright light, and Jian Wushuang has already shot directly. Buzzing. A hazy mist, like a field, swept across the mighty. In the blink of an eye, the whole world was covered by this mist. Within the hazy mist, a Pei formation has taken shape. I was standing there, unable to stop the mist, and now he was at the very center of the mist. At the same time, he sensed the special power carried in the mist. Is it the array? He frowned, and a huge axe appeared in his hand. Suddenly, a cold light lit directly. I saw in the mist of the sky, a huge sword shadow cut directly. It's too fast. The speed of this sword is incredible, and it appears directly from the mist. I didn't see how Jian Wushuang shot it at all when he reacted. This huge sword, the shadow, had appeared directly in front of him, and he could not even wave the huge axe in his hand to resist the sword shadow. Wu Jianying was not hit by any obstruction on the sacrifice body of sacrifice. The sacrifice of sacrifice body was violently blown out, and the breath on his body was directly weakened by more than 20% at this moment. How is it possible? Shi widened his eyes. As the Lord of the Demon Clouds, he sat down as the fourth general. He obviously has a mighty strength, and the giant axe is already in his hands, but he hasn't had a shot at all, and the divine power has been annihilated by more than 20%. Is another huge sword shadow, followed by the third, fourth, fifth. Do not. Gourmet screamed violently, and he waved the huge axe in his hands. Trying to resist, he could cut 5 swords in succession. He only resisted one of them, but the other 4 were directly bombarded on his body. All of his power was destroyed. Humming. The hazy mist of the sky also dissipated directly, and the heavens and the earth returned to peace. The sword and Wushuang had taken back the Wu weapon sword, and he stood quietly in the void of the universe, and at his feet was the cold corpse. From the beginning of the mist to dissipate, it is only a momentary effort, but the fourth of His Majesty the Lord of the Clouds will eat and still die on the spot. Chapter 3958. 4 more arrived today. Dead, that eater is dead. For a moment I didn't respond. What kind of fourth will be killed? Did you see it? This is the Lord of the Blood Sword, our first strongest in the star field. Too strong, the Lord of the Blood Sword is too strong, and there is the Lord of the Blood Sword, then there is no such thing as a demon lord. Numerous practitioners in the Taiyuan divine camp were shaken completely. Because the battle was too fast just now, they just saw that the mist was permeating. As for what happened in the mist, they hadn't had time to see it clearly, and the mist was dispersed again, and just now that was still clamoring and bursting. The dying fourth will eat and is dead. It was only a moment, and the absolute strength revealed by Jian Wushuang completely conquered them. The result of this battle also immediately boosted the morale of the practitioners in the early divine camp. Originally, there was still a trace of embarrassment about the outcome of this battle. Now, because of the relationship between swords and swords, they are full of confidence. Almost everyone thinks that they can win this battle. This battle win beautiful. Heavenly little friend, he is really amazing. I just felt that breath, and I can feel his breath, much stronger than us, but in front of Xiaoho Xiaoyu he was beheaded. The masters of the God Realm camp at the beginning of the Tai dynasty were also very excited. They all knew that Jian Wushuang's battle easily won and killed opponents, which had a great influence on the whole battle situation. The master's strength has increased again. Among the many slaves of the sword unparalleled, at this moment only the Lord of the Martian is standing in the power of the early gods, and everyone else is hiding. Suddenly, at the moment, the Lord of Mars was secretly astonished. He knows Jianshuang's strength. Thousands of years ago, in the eternal dark prison, although Jianshuang's strength was also arrogant enough, he could only trap the enemy with the wave lightsaber and then slowly killed the opponent. For nearly 1,000 years, Jian Wushuang has been doing secret repairs in the Tower of Time and Space, and his strength has increased significantly, especially in the sword formation. Whether it is the Wave Lightsaber Array or the Earth Guardian Sword Array, they have been greatly improved. Of course, there is the third most important thing to make the Supreme Immortal Mystery, which is comparable to the strongest treasure, which gives Jian Wushuang a stronger divine power. And just cast by Sword Wushuang, it is the hazy sword formation derived from the hazy sword skill. This sword formation is an absolute killing sword formation. It is equally powerful from the current swordless hands. The current sword is unparalleled, and even if he does not use his whole cards, he can easily kill the ordinary third-level master by relying solely on the hazy sword array. The entire universe is empty, and because of the battle between Jian Wushuang and Shishir, they are caught in a commotion and madness. In the beginning, the practitioners in the world were all surprised and excited, but those practitioners on the side of the demon star were exactly the opposite. When they saw that their fourth would be so simple and killed, each of them was shocked. They know very well how powerful this fourth will be. The 6 major generals of the Lord of the Demon Cloud have the same strengths as each other. Even if they are the first generals, they are not much stronger than the 6 generals. It can be said that the 6 major generals, it is Her Majesty's strongest combat power. Of course, the Lord of the Clouds is far above the 6 gods themselves. But now, the fourth will be killed by the other party so easily, then in their entire Demon Star camp, I am afraid that only their master can compete with each other. Originally, I wanted to suppress the morale of the opponent a little bit, but I didn't expect it to be a cocoon. The Lord of the Clouds frowned, and Jian Wushuang's killing and eating was so clean and clear, which obviously exceeded his expectations. However, this sword's unparalleled improvement in strength is indeed beyond this seat's expectations. The Magic Cloud Star secretly said, "The Master of the Rules can only kill a third-level master in an instant. The master of this rule is very powerful. I have been practicing a chaotic era so far, and I have seen many talented men. But the Lord of the Rules against the sky like this, I have never seen it." Shihua Shenjun was also surprised there. No matter how against the sky dare to block the way of this seat, he has to die as well. But the Lord of the Clouds burst out with a terrifying killing intention. There is no need to waste time anymore, just go ahead and kill it. The Demon Cloud Star sat on the throne and waved his hands casually. At the moment he waved his hand, the army of 100,000 rulers behind him was moving instantly. Kill! A terrible shout and kill sounded suddenly. 20,000 people spoke at the same time, and the sound they made was just like a single person, and the sound was filled with one of the terrible killings. For a time, the entire universe was shivering. The main army of 100,000 people's rules is like a huge war machine, directly running, and numerous figures are swept out at the same time, and even if they are swept out at the same time, this army is neat and tidy, without any slight disorder. A horrible killing intention has already been flooded in this world, and at the moment when the main army of the rule of 100,000 people was up and running, at the beginning of the camp, countless practitioners his eyes became scarlet, and he even became crazy. At this moment, these practitioners have come up with their own treasures. Each piece is at the top, and even the highest level of treasures appear in their hands, and the breath of God's power of countless rules has also risen into the sky. Battle! With a loud roar, the war was soaring. The next moment, 700,000 rules of the main army spawned 7 huge battle formations, just like the 7 war beasts, also directly rushed out. Compared to the whole of the 100,000 rule lord army of the Demon Star, the 7 war beasts on the one side of the divine realm in the early days did not seem so perfect, but the momentum was not weak at all. The most important thing is that in quantity, after all, it is one of 7 enemies. Even if the quality of the Lord of the Devil Star army rules is higher than that of the gods in the early days, the gods in the early days have no fear at all. In the blink of an eye, the 2 armies collided head-on. This is the ultimate battle that has begun long ago, and has determined the life and death of countless lives and souls in the whole early world of God. From this moment, it finally broke out. When the battle began, the world was angry. Chapter 39:59. The first is more. Ping ping, ping, ping. A terrible roar sounded loudly. The 2 armies all formed a battle array, combining the power of the master of all rules, and the first time they carried out a terrible collision shock. The shock wave was shocking and shocking, causing the surrounding universe to tremble in madness. There was even 1 cosmic black holes appear out of thin air. In the first round of collision alone, in the early days of the divine realm, 7 war beasts, 2 of them were directly repelled, and the entire war beast trembled wildly and almost collapsed. It is also a battle formation composed of the master of 100,000 rules. A single war beast is not an opponent of Demon Star's army at all. Even if it is 2 or war beast, it may not be able to compete with Demon Star. The army contends, but in the early days, one side of the world was eventually the master of 700,000 rules, consisting of 7 full-fledged monsters of war. Although these 7 war monsters are not opponents, they can be swarmed up. Even if the battlefield of the Demon Star army repelled the 2 in the first place, the remaining 5 will rush wildly and display horror. Assault. The battle line of the army of the Demon Nebula attacked the past. The battlefield of the Demon Star army is like a whole. The 100,000 rule master obviously cooperates for a long time, and it is extremely tacit. Even when facing the 7 war beasts, they are attacking from the surroundings at the same time. While resisting, they also able to fight back and forth again and again. The minimum of 100,000 is the master of the rules of the top of the void realm. Forming a battle array, perfectly performing, and an arbitrary attack, that power is already above the general master. Simply talking about power, I am afraid that even the master of the 3rd and 4th series cannot be compared with it. This battle formation formed by the Demon Cloud army and the 7 war monsters in the early stage of the divine realm collided with each other in a frantic collision, but within a short period of time, they did not fall into the wind. In the surrounding void, many masters of the divine realm camp stood in the early days, watching the battlefield in front of them, and their hearts were shocked. I am the first time I have seen hundreds of thousands of rules to form a battle formation and fight and collide again and again. It's not just you, we're all the same. Well, the crazy killing of the master of hundreds of thousands of rules, it is incredible just to think about it. Every one of the masters was secretly admiring. In this star field, although there are many rule masters, there are hundreds of thousands of rule masters. This number is still too large. Usually, when the 2 forces fight, the number of rulers participating in the battle can be tens of thousands, which is considered a super scene. But these scenes, compared with the war in front of them, are little witches. It is indeed Demon Star. Although the Demon Star army has only 100,000 rule masters, the 100,000 rule masters are not only in quality, but also in their proficiency in battle formations and their cooperation with each other. The ruler of these rules must be too strong. Fortunately, the number is 7 to 1. Otherwise, the collision of this army, I was too early in the world side is not the opponent of the Devil Star. Even now, I am too early the world side. At best, they can barely occupy some advantages. Xian Shinto solemnly. Wu Jianso nodded slightly. He can also see that the masters of the rules of the Demon Star Army cooperate very well, and that the masters of these rules have a mastery and proficiency of the battle array one by one, which is far from the masters of the rules of the early gods. Ratio. Although there were 700,000 rulers in the Taijutsu camp, most of these rulers were invited in the past millennium, and they did not come at one time, but came one after another in the millennium. Although the master of these rules immediately began to familiarize themselves with the battlefield, after all, time was limited and there were too many people. Even if the master of the stone Mars exerted all his strengths, in such a short time, it was impossible to achieve. Every ruler has a high degree of mastery of the battlefield. In other words, among the 700,000 rulers of the divine world in the early days, most of the rulers just barely mastered it, and many of them were too late to master it, but with other people, they barely battled it out. Combination formed. Under these conditions, in the early days, the ruler of the one side of the divine realm, I am afraid, will only be able to exert 20 to 30% of his power. This has led to the fact that even if the 7 war monsters join forces, they can only compete with the Demon Star Army in a short period of time, and can only take a slight advantage at most. Master, it is my reason that disappoints you. The Lord of Mars said next to Jian Wushuang. This matter, no wonder you. Jian Wushuang waved his hand. He is very clear that in such a short period of time, the Lord of Mars can make these 700,000 rulers to form a battle line, which is very good. In the main army of the rules, although I didn't get much advantage in the early days, the God realm had at least the upper hand. Next, I saw the collision of high-level combat power. Jian Wushuang squinted his eyes slightly, but his eyes were it was directly through the void, and looked at the Lord of the Clouds star at the end of the line of sight. When the magic cloud Xingzhu, still lazily sitting on that throne towering statue, eyes look unto them from time to time at the battlefield. See when on the battlefield, magic cloud star armies in the collision with the beginning of the spirit world. Even when a little disadvantage, magic cloud Xingzhu his face showing a hint of surprise of color. War? And this war level, did not seem low? What a magic cloud Xingzhu vision, he saw immediately that the beginning was the spirit world, one of 7 beast of war, 700,000 of the main rules of the form of very smart, but those who master the rules of war to a very low degree of mastery, not only the law of war to play it out completely valiant. This is the beginning of the gods is in the thousands of years began to emerge a large number of the main rules of their army should also in this nearly 1,000 years before the formation may be within such a short time army, was able to play this and other combat power? It appears that one side is the spirit world was in the beginning there was a good strong battle formation Magic Cloud's magic main underground passage. He said good tactical deployment of strong, natural stone Mars is the Lord. Alone under the command of the army, the winner is hard to see high-level combat capability it. Magic Cloud Xingzhu spoke, he slowly raised his right hand standing behind him, from the magic cloud star of hundreds dominate, their eyes are instantly converge on the magic cloud Xingzhu right hand. With this magic cloud Xingzhu waved his right hand raised, all of a sudden, a road to dominate the levels of the atmosphere directly broke off. Magic Star's arm, dominate hundreds, including many second series, and even digital dominate the third series at this moment, have direct move. They are tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.